Hey
What's up?
everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the Game Junction Podcast, episode 91. Before we get too far into it, obviously, want to welcome everybody coming into the podcast for supporting us. Obviously our channel members, Patreon supporters, all that fun stuff. We definitely appreciate y'all. It's
It's
good old July 5th, which means it's the day after July 4th, at least here in the U.S. Independence Day. Hopefully you had a good Independence Day. I don't know what you did.
No, we had a family cookout, which we always do, and then we saw fireworks. That's basically it. Got to see my nephew. Yeah, just the normal stuff. Nothing special. But
Yeah, no, I didn't do it. I'm just chilling, but it's a nice 4-day weekend that I've got, so I didn't need to do a whole lot. In small town, I didn't feel like going out, even though it wasn't too bad. High 70s during the day. It was really nice outside.
It's not bad. Yeah,
nice little breeze. 20-mile-an-hour breeze.
Yeah,
but it was nice.
It wasn't bad here, but it started pouring down rain. So like we set up outside for people to sit and everything. Like came over and helped with setting everything up, and we couldn't do it. We all had to stay inside. So kind of sucked.
Yeah, it's like
but
the one frustrating thing sometimes is
it
you need the
felt good
weather
out.
to cooperate.
It felt good.
Yeah,
out,
no,
too.
not in the cloud in the sky, but I definitely did. It's a new tradition to me. I watched the best Independence Day movie ever.
Oh, Will Smith.
Obviously, Independence Day.
What about
We Will Not Go
Independence
Quietly
Day
Into the
2?
Night? That movie doesn't exist to me.
It's
such
pretty
a
bad
movie. Such a bad. I can't because I was watching some other YouTuber. I don't remember who it was. It popped up in my feed because he was like doing like a review of both movies, and it's just like, yeah, the original movie was kind of like trashy summer flick from like the 90s.
Yeah,
but it's good summer flick trash. The second movie was just bad all around and stuff like that. At least the first movie had like character. I remember certain scenes from it very vividly. Like the whole alien thing freaked me out as a kid.
Bro, you know what's funny is they made it. I don't know if you know about this. Hold on, let me look it up to make sure I'm not thinking of the other franchise. I think they made like a some type of spinoff. Maybe it was a cartoon or something with that. But there was for sure toys because I had a couple of them, and it's one of those weird things. Like they made toys for Rambo, which is like a rated R movie, and then they made toys for God, there was a couple other things that were like just like not kids things that they tried to turn into a kids thing.
Like, why are you marketing this to small children?
It's kind of weird, but yeah, I shared out a meme too about Will Smith. Everybody remember Will Smith on Independence Day. Oh man, funny stuff.
Yeah, just keep Chris Rock away from him. That's like the only big important thing. But no, I got a little American flag representing.
Does it say stay away? Oh,
it says stay army. Actually, I don't know if you could read it. It's reversed in my camera, but
yeah,
it's the only American flag shirt that I had, or quasi American shirt.
I don't have any anymore. I used to have a few, but I didn't have anything to wear, so
I've got like
my gym shirt.
I've got like 10 shirts that I just rotate through, so I don't have a whole lot. And I got like 2 pairs of pants,
dude.
2 pairs of shorts.
I relate that. I've got a few more shirts because I've been buying like video game shirts, stuff like that now. So I have like a sort of rotation, but I still just grab the same clothes. I'm trying to get out of that habit, but I still just grab the same things that I wear every week.
I think I end up rotating to like realistically like the same 3 shirts that I wear consistently. Oh, and I buy other like anime or gaming shirts, but they don't always fit really well.
Yeah,
I spent $20 on a shirt, and it's kind of like a cheap
GameStop shirt.
Yeah, it's usually where I end up buying them.
I find that every time I get, because that's where most of mine came from, there or if I find like discount at Target or something. But I find that they're like not consistent. I never know.
Some are really nice,
and
some are just kind of crap. But surprisingly, like one of the most, it's too big for me, way too big. It's kind of like a dress on me, actually. One of my favorite, like just sit at home shirts that I have, I think it's a Space Dandy shirt. I got it in one of those like anime box things that used to do that were big like 10 years ago, where it's like, you subscribe to these boxes, they send you a bunch of random stuff. And after a while, you're like, this is just cheap crap. Most of it I didn't keep. But like of everything that I actually still have at this point, it's one of those shirts that's really nice shirt. It's just way too big, but I just wear it when I'm at home like all the time.
I've got a couple shirts like that. So I bought this must have been 2019 because this was like pre all the crap. This Pokemon shirt from it must have been before that because it's a Sword and Shield shirt, and it was like relatively new. So what was that? Like maybe 2018, something like that. Anyway,
Kinda. I don't think that year it came out.
I bought this blue and it had the starters on it. And I had it for years and I tried it on finally, like, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago or something. And like, I don't really know why I hadn't worn it or whatever, but yeah, it's like a dress, it, like almost down to my knees. I'm like, okay. And this is like after washing it. Because I always, if they're 100% cotton, I always wash it first. That's just
Yeah,
what I
just to
do.
make sure.
But yeah, I mean, like, I
So they
don't
sell it
know.
in what, like, small, medium, large, and those sizes are very considered. There's some shirts that I wear that are small that fit well, and then some types of shirts I have to get
We
a
need like,
large. Like my standard's like a medium, but even sometimes I've worn mediums. Like this is not. It's way too big to be a medium. There's no consistency in
no,
how
there
they. At least
isn't.
with my pants, it's actual like waist and length size that I can get something accurate.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We need consistent clothing. I'm gonna start I'm gonna
Start a petition.
yeah, petition. That's what I was
On
saying.
petition.org or whatever that site is.
We're gonna protest actually because I'm sick of it. We escalated.
Yeah, I'm gonna go shut down my nearest interstate. Probably getting hit by a semi.
Dude,
but
that stuff makes me so angry. That's a whole other.
we need consistent shirt sizes.
Yeah, could you imagine though if we like really did it?
It
People
makes
heard
me
us
like,
say it.
wait, is that what you're protesting for?
Like that's what
crazy.
you're worried about? First world
I
problem.
wish. Yeah, I wish that's like the biggest concern I had in my life. To be fair,
Yeah, no, me too. Me too.
but no, it's some good introductory stuff right there. We'll actually get into the meat and what we're gonna discuss about.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Game Junction YouTube's got a new Metroid video up about talking about it's a new trailer, right? I'm not
Yeah.
completely losing my mind on that. all
Yeah,
of a
from
sudden.
the just kind of discussing
And
the trailer after it
Yeah, I
came
watched
out.
this like 8 hours ago, and I already can't remember half of what we talked about in it. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
starting to get dementia.
I feel that we're getting older. We're getting that foggy brain.
Yeah. You're putting up some new reels and shorts throughout the week. Is it going to be like a more regular thing you're doing, or you just had put some stuff up?
Yeah, I don't really have a schedule on those. I try to do at least every other day. Sometimes I hit like, every day, a few days in a row, whatever. It's just kind of as I can. Just an
Yeah.
extra, thing to do. So,
Just trying to advertise a little bit more. Obviously, we're on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. Some of you might be watching one of these sites. Obviously, we're all on all those. Obviously, everything's down in the description below as well.
not to interrupt you, but let me just say something real quick. Threads,
Yeah.
like you said it once too, and I did see something about it before. Somebody said it's like this is dead. There is more conversation with posts I put out there than Facebook, because there's almost 14,000 followers. There's a lot of people there, but it is on par with that. On par. I mean, the conversation.
That's crazy.
Every time I can't even keep up with it. So like it's just going and going and going. Like I put up a thing about movies this morning. 423 comments 6 hours ago. Like it's crazy. You know what I
Pretty
mean?
good.
So hey, don't sleep on Threads. Go make some friends.
Or at the very least, first to the market, so it definitely helps out. Or the algorithm gods have helped you. I have no idea.
I think it's just a
some
good
random behind the
platform,
scenes
man.
thing.
I think it's because there's probably not as many people on there, so things don't get lost as much. But there's still a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah.
there's over I think like 3 million users or something already. Mark Zuckerberg put out, so that's a lot of people.
You say Mark Zuckerberg, and I can only think of the. This is
I
like way
knew
off to
you
the
were gonna
right.
say something when I said that.
I'm sorry, because the first thing I thought of was the South Park episode where they invite Mark Zuckerberg because what's it, Butters / Inspector Chaos is putting bad things about Coon and friends and stuff like that. So Cartman, Eric,
I remember.
the rest of the game, I'm blanking on names, and they bring him. He's just like he's like, this is my style, and he obviously the mouth doesn't match up and stuff like that. It was so stupid but so funny. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I don't know why that came to my mind.
You're good. I'm just sharing this link out here.
Yeah, intrusive thoughts win the day.
Hey, sometimes they're good.
Yeah, and then obviously, actually, when we're done with the podcast, we'll be recording our new anime podcast and stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of work to do. It's something brand new. Got to get a bunch of other stuff put together. But obviously, here, hopefully, pretty soon, maybe next week or so. If everything kind of lines up perfectly, that should be going out. That's obviously going to be pre-recorded, but we're going to have that coming out as well. and just trying to get more content out on the YouTube for everybody to enjoy. So
I think it's
look
going to
forward
be
to all
fun. We kind of no limits. We're just kind of doing, figuring out what we want to do. It's kind of like
Yes.
a refresh or something. You know what I mean? Doing something a little
Yeah.
bit different. So it's gonna. We do know it's gonna be. It's gonna be a lot different than this podcast. We're gonna keep it at the hour or shorter, whatever happens there. It's gonna be on the shorter end, but we're gonna, other than that, kind of figure out what we want to do. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a different sort of format.
More content. Obviously, it's something new. I could probably go back to the days when we started the Game Junction podcast, trying to like figure out, your left and your right and stuff like that, and how you want everything to work out. Find your audience, make tweaks as you go along. So definitely looking forward to that, and hopefully everybody that's watching that has a passing interest does as well, or maybe people that end up watching that don't give a crap about this. Who knows?
And for the live viewers, I'll throw the channel link there in the chat too here in a second. So
yeah, definitely. But no, yeah, we got a lot of stuff to get into, and I guess we can just get right into the podcast. Some of the more, I guess, smaller stuff going on. This one feels like it was more directly advertised, maybe not on the thumbnail, but I know I saw it down in the description. We got a new Sonic and Shadow game, or it's getting a collector's edition. Is it a new game, or is it getting just a collector's edition?
It's a new game. We talked about it like maybe a month and a half ago or something. It's been a little while.
I don't remember it at all.
So this is it's a remaster, more along the lines of a remake, but it was just Sonic Generation. So we don't know what the whole bringing Shadow into it is going to be. It could be like a whole twist, but originally Shadow wasn't involved with it. There was no, so the Sonic X Shadow part's new. But yeah, it's getting a cool collector's edition. What's crazy about this game is that there's been some stuff that has came out, like the Sega social media is more active than I've ever seen it, and they're tweeting out they're going to do, okay, so there's this game called Sonic Jam for the Sega Saturn, and all this was realistically was the first 3 games put in a package, but it had this crazy museum mode where it was a 3D Sonic, the first time we ever saw a 3D Sonic, and people like love this model. It's one of my favorite models too. It's like of the time, but it captures like the classic Sonic in like a 3D way, that early 3D, but it looks good. I don't know how to explain it other than that, but like they're taking that model, and if you sign up for their email newsletter, you'll get that skin that you can play in the game with. So you could bring this, model of Sonic from the Sega Saturn early 3D days. This is very early. You could tell. But the big deal about this, too, is there was a game called Sonic Extreme that was supposed to come out after this, and it got canceled. And there's a trailer out there where they showed it off at, I think it was Space World or somewhere like that, one of those E3 type deals that's no longer around. So this was going to be like the model for that Sonic Extreme game that never came out. So it's kind of a cool thing, and I'm looking forward to it. This was making me like really excited kind of for Sonic again. Some of the games have been real hit or miss. It's always been like that with Sonic, but this, I don't know, man. This one looks like it's gonna be pretty good. So I'm excited about it. Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely, and I think they priced it for what they're saying $81.99 for a copy.
Yeah.
With the shadow figures, shoe keychain, and the physical art book as well.
And for like a collector's edition, as you know, that's a pretty good price. It's a $40 or $50 game. So it's not much more than like the standard game, and I think it's kind of cool because we don't really get Sonic collector's editions that often. I want to say, as far as I'm aware anyway, the last one we got was for Sonic Mania, because I've got it back there, and I bought it secondhand like several years after it came out, but I think this is the first one since then. I could be wrong, but kind of cool. Not like a series we get collector's editions for that often, so.
No, yeah, definitely.
Got a cool shadow bus.
Better than like $120 special edition on you. It's 3-day early access.
Well,
thanks Ubisoft.
I did want, because we didn't have it in the notes, I did want to quickly bring it up because I did pre-order it. Now, we talked about the series in videos a bunch back in the day. I don't think you ever played this one. I know I got you to play like the Legends or Trails games, but the new Ease game just got an official release date. So yesterday, did you see that?
Yeah. I saw it. I didn't know the actual date, but I saw the headline that it actually got something.
So yeah, it went up now or yesterday. I did it right away, so I don't know if it's still up, but there is like a actual collector's edition, and then there's a deluxe version. So there's two different things, but I the collector's edition looks really cool. I love the series, so I went ahead and did it. But yeah, that's what's out there: the deluxe edition and the collectors. And then there was a link that went out on Twitter for that. I can't even remember where I pre-ordered. I think either PlayAsia or Amazon. I can't remember. But yeah, it went up, so that's kind of cool. Definitely excited about that because that's been out in Japan. It came out last year, and it's finally getting brought over. It reminds me of back in the day when we'd be waiting forever for these games to come out here. Because now we're
like
kind of
5,
used
10 years.
to like a global release. It's like you know what I mean? People are kind of spoiled
it's really
now,
nice.
where it's like coming out same day everywhere. But nope, not this one. You had to wait. It's got a lot of text, so I imagine it probably took some time.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to shout out. Apparently, what's it? Jedi Kai 02 rated over on the on the Twitch because we're live streamed to both YouTube and Twitch as well. So
Heck yeah,
I just want to say welcome, appreciate it.
we also got Mr. Coffee here on the YouTube side. He said, "Big Sonic collectors set. Yes, Sonic Mania was the last one, but remember that special edition didn't come with the game. Yeah, that's true." And then he said, "It's the coolest collector's edition I've ever gotten, though. Oh my god, it's so cool. It's Sonic standing on a Sega Genesis. It's just super rad, other than not coming with the game. But that's part of the course now. I mean, I got the God of War one that didn't come with the game, and yeah. But he said I'm still debating on the East collectors. So
yeah, I think I've got. I don't have to walk away. I know I think about one random game.
You got
the Ease games.
Lacrimosa of Donna, right? I think.
Yeah, it's, I haven't touched it. Well, I got like a bunch of games that I buy and they sit on my shelf for like 2 years before I actually get around to playing them.
I think that's
worse,
what it was.
definitely
We
more
talked about it before.
Yeah, it's far worse on my actual Steam where I bought in games like 8 years ago and I'm still not even started the game.
I think I have like 111, 112 games or something, and I've played 2 games on it ever. I'm running with the laptop, so like it's not the same type of experience.
The joys of having too many games and not enough time to play them all.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was like, I bought this game for like $5 on a Steam sale, and now I'm sitting here like, yeah, but I really want to play this other game that I bought as well.
Listen,
and this game just gets forgotten about.
I still haven't beat Super Mario Bros. Wonder right at the end because I was streaming it right at the end of it. But I did this with what other game did I do this with? Or I stopped it. Tears of the Kingdom, got it day one. I got 2 copies of it, and I still beat it because I've got over 130 hours in it. Dude, just running around having fun with it. But Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Super Mario RPG, I played about 2 hours of it, the remake. Yeah, haven't beat that. Got the Princess Peach game to play with my daughter. I pre-ordered it, as you know. I got it from QVC, so I paid $40, and we just played it for the first time the other day. I played the demo. It's fun, but it's like a Kirby game. It's super easy. It's very fun, but again, same thing. My daughter she's got to be in a mood. It's like an occasion when she wants to play a game. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's play. So it's like a whole thing.
No, yeah, definitely.
Dang,
I guess there was some. Yeah, I was interacting with a little bit on the chat on the Twitch. We had 2 other people come in. Was it Mr. Rourke? I didn't butcher that. And then obviously Fragile Masculinity saying hello. And I heard there's all the cool kids hang out. Obviously, it's usually been more dead on the Twitch than usually on the YouTube. So
yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, no, but definitely appreciate everybody stopping by.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully you're not too bored with more podcast style, especially on the Twitch. But no, we got some news as well. What's it? Microsoft confirms some Game Pass July lineups.
Yeah. So
I was trying to pull that up for a second.
Oh, you're good. I lost the chat and it's making me sign in through the OBS, and so I'm trying to do like 5 different things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we got the Xbox games came up. I'm trying to pull it up as well. And then PlayStation, and then we got some Nintendo drops. So it kind of all happened together, but there's some decent stuff here that's coming. So I know the one Journey to the Savage Planet was the one that I eyeballed. That's a game I've wanted to play for a while. It looks really fun. We're also getting Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, which is cool because, I mean, it's not a game I particularly want to buy. So it's like a Game Pass type of game for me. So that's I think perfect. We're also getting Cricket 24. I am so excited for this game. You have no idea. I've always wanted to play a cricket game.
Is this like straight like actual
the
actual
actual
game
like,
cricket?
It might as well be MLB the show because it looks and it looks from this image it looks good too for a sports game. So this is legit.
You say, I think you said the first time I think I heard the actual mainstream media even talk about cricket was the 24, the T20, whatever the cricket world championship game is. The US. Well, it was hosted in the US, so the US kind of like automatically got in, but they beat like one of the big favorites or one of the big teams. I think it was like Pakistan. It was like a really big deal, at least in the cricket world.
Played cricket.
Yeah, they're
is it like a big thing?
It is. I think in like Southeast Asia, that's like the only big region like outside of England. English make a bunch of weird sports, but. Yeah. Obviously, the U.S. got to they call it like and I know almost nothing about it. I think I watched a video or two on it. They made like the round of 8, and then they just lost all their games. But it's like, hey, we beat a big team type thing of a bunch of guys that just played on the down low. I think.
Got chat back.
One of the funny random stats from that it's coming to me off the top of my head was everybody that was on that team was either a first or a second generation immigrant.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're out there repping. But I also thought it was kind of funny. I was like, there's no like home. I don't know if you want to say like homegrown American or something like that. But there's like no like, dude from like Minnesota on the team that his family's been there. But it was still a dope thing, and I'm sure the guys that are on the team definitely had a really really good time.
Well, I'm going to try this just to try it because I don't know anything about it. But we also got the Case of the Golden Idol. That's cloud console PC. Neon White, which is pretty cool looking game. So I was looking at this. I hadn't heard of it before, which is what I like. And it's like this anime-esque kind of. I don't know what you want to call it. It's like a 3D. Like maybe like puzzle platformer. It looks very bizarre, but like it got an 8 out of 10 from IGN, and it looks kind of cool.
This was this
the visual novel FPS? Yeah, it's a
okay.
Part visual novel, part lightning fast FPS platformer. So okay, I was alright. So it's like
I kind of saw that. It had that weird. I don't know. I got like the old like 2008. Little bit of the goth emo vibes. A little bit of it.
It does kind of have that. Yeah, a little bit of My Chemical Romance inspired.
It's not a phase, Mom. God.
We also got Tachia, which is not a game I know anything about, but it looks, probably something I wouldn't play, but I don't know. Look it up, see if you like it.
Yeah.
And then the other two are, we got...
I know you're definitely looking forward to that Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2. It's your favorite fighting game of all time.
I played the first one. I didn't like the first one. Do you remember we played it together, didn't we? Was it me and you or me and Luke? Yeah, it was me and you. We did. All three of us.
When did we play it?
All three of us.
How long ago was this?
This could have been the very end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023, but we all three played it. I remember.
Okay. I probably don't remember, but we may have played it.
Yeah, I remember. And then, because we also played that other Smash Brothers clone that came out that just got out of beta finally.
That's the one I definitely remember. I think we played.
We couldn't play this because it was so laggy. We couldn't play.
I know. What was the name of that game?
Because we just talked about it like a couple weeks ago again.
Yeah, I know that's the bad part of it. I know it's like you had like Scooby-Doo, LeBron, some of those more Looney Tune-esque characters.
Jason Voorhees in it. Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of it. We just talked about it. But we also got Magical what am I?
You got this.
Tongue twister.
Is it Magical Delicacy? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know why I couldn't do that. I'm telling you, my brain. And also Flock. So those are the games there for that. So,
he's got that good old Ohio education system in him. Can't read.
I know. It's a problem.
It's okay. I went through the same thing. I'm allowed to poke fun at it.
That's true. So did you see the Nintendo drop? All those NES games dropped on yesterday.
I heard about it, but I didn't actually look into it. If I'm like being straight honest, because I'm not gonna lie, most of the NES games aren't really all that good in my opinion. But I didn't grow up with them, so I don't have like any nostalgia.
Oh, all right. So hear me out.
Yeah, no hot take.
Hear me out here. They put out Golf right after the debate. There's got to be something there with that.
Oh.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, because now
Oh.
anytime I see a golf stuff, that's all I can think of now. I don't like golf or anything, but I did.
Yeah, what's your handicapped? You shouldn't have one, to be honest.
I don't even know what that means, if I'm being real with you. I've
It has something to do
played,
with if you say like it has to do with your total stroke count, but you take away so many.
I don't even know what
Something like
stroke
that.
is. Like just
I used to
hitting the
golf all the
ball?
time, but I haven't golfed in years.
Yeah, it's
It has
just
to
not,
do with like your total stroke count at the end of the game.
I'm too ADHD for that, man. I can't just do that. I can never do that.
Golf is a thing where it's a piece of metal, a ball. You drive a golf cart. You get
You go out and make
plastered
business
drunk.
deals.
You get completely sunburnt, and then you just hit the ball and get mad because you can't hit it where you want it to go.
Exactly.
You're, blackout drunk, pretty much.
Well, okay, so
that's my experience.
What's interesting about this is we got 7 games total. I thought it was 6, but we actually got 7. But I think these are the last of the black box games. So like the original, early NES games that came in those black boxes. But what's funny, one of them is Donkey Kong Jr. Math. I mean, like,
that's a weird game.
It's such a weird one to like put on there. Like of everything to throw on there from the NES as like one of the best libraries ever, you put Donkey Kong Jr. Math on there.
Yeah, it's like an education game on the NES.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, we did get one Famicom game, which is cool. So this is one I've never played. But all of them are Cobra Triangle, Solar Jetman, Golf, Mach Rider, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, Urban Champion, and then this Famicom game, which I gotta look up the name again, is The Mystery of Atlantis, known as Atlantis no Nazo in Japan. So it's a side-scrolling platformer and maze exploration game by Sunsoft. I like Sunsoft games, so
yeah.
I get excited about the Famicom games that we didn't get here.
Yeah, and you bring that up. When are we finally gonna get Takeshi's Challenge on NSO?
I keep waiting.
Arguably
every day.
What's that? They consider like the hardest video game of all time, and it's even harder now because there's no commercials to tell you how to get through certain aspects of the game. I just remember the old JonTron video on it, and I was like, "That's brutal."
It is brutal. That's wild.
I'd be better if you got saves, so you can just you have to like restart the game.
Right.
It'd be tolerable with NSO with the save states and the rewind stuff.
Yeah,
it's also a game we didn't get over here, so
I like the games that we didn't get here because I like to play new things. Because a lot of people like this, I guess like the general audience more of like a nostalgia thing to them. But for me, it's like I want to play the games I never played instead of Super Mario Brothers 3 again for the which is great, but I played it 50,000 times literally. So like I like to play new games that I haven't played.
The SNES version of those games are just better. Sorry.
I think it's important to get these games brought over. That what I mean. I think it's important.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Just to be able to play them at the very least.
Speaking of which, funny enough, I made a post today about asking people if they like Super Mario Bros. 3 or Super Mario World better, and somebody brought up Super Mario All Stars, and I was, I always think it's crazy that we got. One console later, we get a remake for the first 3 games. That's just like, it's kind of unheard of at the time.
I think it's more of like a remaster because all it really did was just
a whole new.
It may be a whole remake, but as far as like playing them, it just adds more like to the background. It just looks better, but I still feel like
play the first game, it looks nothing like the first one, and I think they control different. I've always felt that way. Like I can. Actually, one time I played them kind of back to back because I was curious, and from what I can see, they're like actual like remakes. But regardless, it's still interesting that nobody did that yet. That wasn't a thing. So
yeah, I grew up playing the All Star, so when I was a kid, I didn't know any better. But looking at both versions, I just think the All Star just graphically looks nicer. Obviously, it's on better hardware, and they know what they're doing now. But I prefer like having more of like than just like a blue or a black. I can't speak background.
Where'd you get your education at, Mark?
I just can't speak.
No, I think they're great. The first time I played it was at your house, and then I ended up getting it maybe a year or something later because we had the Super Nintendo for I don't know a little while. And it got put in a box or something. My dad ended up doing the trading thing. It wasn't until the GameCube that we finally got to keep us, or the 64 that we got to keep a system. See, for me, I got to play some really cool systems that I wouldn't say it like obscure now, but it is obscure. Nobody, where here had a turbo graphics. It was cool, but the not cool part is that like that system, I only ever had 4 games for it. My dad traded it like months later, so like my experience with it was like real short. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what he did. They all went to, I don't know why it was like this, but all the systems ended up going to my aunt and uncle. So they always had our old systems that were already old systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they ended up with everything, and that didn't. They bought like my PlayStation TV when I had that when it came out, like I don't know, a year later or something. I wasn't using it, and then I ended up getting it back from them like 6, 7 years later. They had it in their basement, and then I never found it again. I put it somewhere or traded it or did something, and I ended up buying another one. Uh, it's crazy. I got it back and then I lost it, or I don't know what I did.
Yeah, but I think it's still like the other thing that's really relevant though about some of those old games is like you only had like what, maybe 4 to 6 games for a console, and that's
Yeah,
all you were ever gonna have.
Yeah, and that's the
Unless
thing.
you got lucky
Like,
to go to Blockbuster and you
renting,
rent like.
right?
That's how I played the original or the not the original but the 64 Star Fox games and Mario 64. Those were both, I played those via like rental or somebody else owned them, so I didn't like get super invested into those types of games. But what we definitely had, I definitely knew inside and out like the back of my hand.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
just
like
played the crap out of them.
some of those games I would rent over and over, or I would rent it again, weeks, month later, whatever, like come back to it. Cause you had like 64
Yeah.
finally had the memory cards. So a lot of those
Yeah.
that's what I would do. But
Or no, that's also how I played like the Bomberman 64 and then Bomberman the Second Attack, which I think it's unfairly, I don't know. It's my favorite Bomberman game. Say what you want about it. That's how I remember those games because we rented them. And it's like, oh, I played these like once or twice, but I really want to play it again.
yeah, we had to do the renting a lot. I mean, you couldn't get everything. It just didn't work like that. That's not how it is. when you're a kid.
$80 back in like 98 was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot, man. I mean, you count like
I think
inflation. It's a
yeah,
lot.
I think like if for some people, like if you go back into like, like around the mid 90s for like, say $60 for like a cartridge game back then is probably, I think they say if you count for inflation, it's close to like $150, $160 is the equivalent of what you're paying back then.
That
Obviously,
sounds about right.
a lot of that has to do with physical media. And those cartridges were very expensive. That's why the CDs blew up because they're extremely cheap and obviously easier to work on. But it was expensive, so you get a
Very
handful of games and that was it. And
Yeah,
if you were going to get a new game, it was going to be like either on your birthday or more than likely you're going to get a game at Christmas. So you're
what
getting like one new game once a year.
what would happen for me a lot is that like some of those games you just get everything. There was a lot coming out, and I was keeping up with magazines and had like into the Power subscription forever. A lot of them I would end up getting when they were a greatest hits version, so it was always $20 like across the board for greatest
cheaper.
hits. Yeah, and then like you could get like 2 of those versus like brand new games. So even then I was like, yeah, I'll do that. At least I get to play these. I get to play an additional game or whatever. But yeah,
Maybe I would have been more into Zelda had I actually played and had a game growing up. Because I knew friends obviously like Ocarina of Time, but the actual first Zelda game that I actually sat down and played and actually significantly played and obviously beat was really Breath of the Wild. Was like the first time I really got into Zelda. Because I just never had the games growing up. So
that is seems to be the case for like a lot of people. You know what I mean? That's their first Zelda experience, or like first time they've gotten into a Zelda. Because it's almost like a series refresh. It's not really, but it kind of is, where the Switch it casts this wide net. Like anything on Switch reaches, like we even look at Metroid Prime Remastered, and it still didn't sell a lot, but it sold more than any of them, and it's a remaster.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Dread did.
Yeah, sorry.
But still, it's a Switch game. Switch it reaches a broader audience. So.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously they had the audience with the Wii, but that was a different audience.
That was
and it obviously had the motion control gimmick. But there really wasn't. There was at least one or two. Well, I guess you had one on the Wii U that was Skyward Sword, and then you had the dual release on the GameCube and the Wii with the the dark with Wolf Link. I'm blanking on the name. I don't know if you remember it. Twilight Princess. But even then, I hear a lot of people feel like that game doesn't hold up as well as say something like Oh, I'm blanking on the name now. I'm terrible. I just don't know a lot of these Zelda games that I should.
What are you trying to think of?
Uh, I keep thinking like Skyward Sword. And that's not it. The one that's on the boat, the one that was on the GameCube.
Wind
I just
Waker?
can't. Wind Waker. I don't know why I couldn't think of that name. I could think of everything about the story, but I couldn't think of the game. I feel like that one has held up a lot more than Twilight Princess has.
Yeah.
As far as like at the time what the fan base wanted, how well it sells.
It was the
compared to,
opposite
like, how
of
games have
everything
held
they
up.
wanted then, but now it's absolutely beloved. And it holds up. That art style is like timeless. Like you can't make
Yeah.
that art style look like I hated the art style at the time. It didn't have anything to do with it looking like more childish. I didn't care about that because I like a Nintendo guy. That's the stuff I played.
Yeah.
But now, like looking back, that type of art style just holds up. You look at it in Wind Waker HD and it looks incredible. You know,
Yeah, because
so-
you have the Twilight has a I don't want to say it's completely because it's not, but it has a more semi-realistic with the dark style art style,
yeah,
and
that's what it was going
that
for. The
it
realism.
doesn't always hold up as well. You know, the more time goes on, it's that whole cell shaded animation style tends to just hold up better.
Yeah, I agree.
And obviously, if you're gonna play it now, the Wii U version, still know why they brought it to the Switch. They didn't bring it to the Switch, did they?
No, they haven't brought Switch.
Yeah, I
Kind
didn't
of
think
crazy.
it was.
Kind of crazy,
Because
but
every time I hear people talk about it, like the Wii U version is like the definitive edition. At the very least, I think we've talked about it before. It gets rid of a lot of the monotonous stuff.
yeah,
That was part of that
the
game.
sailing is way quicker and it just cuts the time down because that was like that was the complaint. You would spend 15 minutes sailing to get to the next spot. It was kind of ridiculous,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like the definitive. Same with Ocarina of Time 3D. Like that's now the definitive way right now to play it. Majora's Mask, same thing, 3D. So I mean, which is good. Like it just improves upon the game. So, Mr. Coffee said Twilight Princess is better on GameCube. I agree that the GameCube version is better because
Didn't they?
the
It
motion
had to come with like the motion controls. They
Yeah.
essentially mirrored everything because it has to
It
be
was
because he's like
flipped.
left-handed.
Yep. Yeah. It got like at first it was like kind of cool, but then like the sword fighting, the Wii Motion Plus wasn't out yet, so it was more of just like you swing and then it was kind of delayed and he would swing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like this doesn't work, but it's playable. But like the GameCube version. That's what I had to was the GameCube version. So
And the hardware on the Wii was equivalent.
it's the
Really was
same.
marginally better than the.
More RAM. One other, I forget what it is. It's essentially a GameCube with motion controls. Like there's almost nothing. Same hardware. So
No, definitely. It's always good going down memory lane with some of that stuff.
yeah, it is. It's fun.
No, but we got some Guilty Gear stuff coming out. The Dual Rulers. We got a teaser trailer for this new game.
Yeah, I just kind of threw this in there to quickly hit on. I just thought it was kind of cool that it might be maybe something you're interested in. So Guilty Gear, like of any fighting games, Mortal Kombat, you can kind of say it has like this crazy ongoing story. It's a Japanese fighting series, so that's pretty part of the course. But it's got this actual like ongoing story, and what's crazy, like the latest Guilty Gear, Strive, which this is a part of, it has it's got a full on anime story right in the game. Like when you start that game, you got 15 minutes of anime to watch before you can even start fighting. Like it's got this full ongoing anime story that's absolutely beautiful. It's really cool that they're making like an actual anime for it. But like
because you brought that up, and I pulled some up they posted yesterday about during Anime Expo they unveiled the new Guilty Gear Strive. They pretty much announced the anime for it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I just thought I'd mention it. Maybe it's something you're interested in, but I know you don't care for fighting games, but it's got this crazy ongoing story. It's actually very interesting because a lot of games like that, I'm just like, just let me fight. Some of the Mortal Kombats I would be that way, but it's cool and it's beautiful. It looks good.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they've always looked good. It's just I'm not a fighting game guy, so.
Yeah, Guilty Gear kind of stands out though. It's always been a one where the art style is just beautiful. It holds up with all of them. You know what I mean? Like a lot of emphasis on that.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the game's got an anime coming out sometime next year, so definitely have to watch that when it comes out.
Yeah.
Tell me how close it relates to the games that you probably haven't played.
I bought that game right
I
when
don't
it
know how
came
it's gonna
out.
relate to the. I don't know if it's like it's a side story, its own thing, or it's like retelling another story.
Well, the
I'm yanking a
story,
chain.
because I mean, there's going to be another. It kind of left off, at least at the end of that. Like we just recently got a new character for the game. We talked about it on here, not too long ago. So I assumed that there was going to be like a big DLC that would come out for it to kind of expand on the story, but it might be that we're just getting a new entry. But it kind of left off, like something else is coming, continuing story. So
Yeah.
this might answer some of the things that happened there towards the end of that game. So cool
No,
stuff.
but I guess the next thing we got some insight on apparently some games, and I only have a PS5, so I've not seen this myself, but apparently some games run better on the PS5 compared to the Xbox Series X, even though technically the Xbox is more powerful with the actual hardware.
Yeah, I saw this
Uh,
pop up a few places.
yeah. So I think Digital Foundries had a conversation. One of the things that they brought up was the uh, quote the combination of a more efficient GPU compiler, lower level APIs, and higher clock speeds allow the PS5 to match or even exceed the outputs of Xbox Series X in some scenarios in quote and stuff like that. So and I don't know what literally everything on that means. Like I don't really remember what I don't. I probably should know what an API is, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah,
It
I
just
don't
sounds
really
like
know either.
you might have by the books more better hardware, but the way they maybe built the PS5, everything just kind of works better. And it's just able to accomplish what it needs to do essentially more efficiently. You've
Yeah.
gotten rid of any potential bottlenecks potentially, but I'm far from a hardware expert when it comes to computers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm not either. I thought it was interesting though, because like my comparison, what I've been able to compare has always been that everything seems to perform better. That I can't really tell a difference visually, at least with the ones that I played interchangeably. But in my experience, the performance has always been better because you could track the clock speed and everything on the systems. So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, it's kind of weird, but it must be like the infrastructure of the PS5 and the way that it handles tasks. It could even be like a cooling thing. You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but that's
Yeah,
just
but
me.
they also said that I guess their approach to the Xbox X has a commonality to the PC development. They said, quote, additionally, there are situations where the Xbox ecosystem and feature set yields dividends. For example, while Elden Ring may run faster on a PS5, Sony's limited implementation of variable refresh rate support means that we'd much rather play on the Xbox Series X. It's just a smoother and more consistent experience, end quote. So I guess it just depends on how they're building the game when it comes to the actual developers and how they're taking advantage of certain hardware limitations on each side. So
Right.
some games run faster, but they could be a more smoother experience based off like hardware and how they're essentially developing the game. I feel like makes a big impact on a lot of these games as well. What does the developer prefer to work with hardware wise?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I thought. I mean, it's kind of interesting stuff. Like, I'm interested in it. I just don't know enough, about the innards of the consoles and the way they're running. But that's, we know the hardware
Uh,
is better than the one, but that doesn't always mean that, better
yeah,
performance and better
I still
everything.
think
I guess with the
personally
games.
it's a hot take. I think the difference is still negligible at the end of the day. You're not if you're only going to have one console, you're not really going to know. But it's a game console. It's the whole plug and play. You don't have to worry about certain updates or fidgeting with hardware like on a PC and stuff like that. So I think for most people they're probably not going to care. The average consumer
Yeah,
doesn't care. It isn't going to notice the difference.
I agree. It's a very small difference. So
But I mean, it's good to try to at least whether you're super into hardware and computers or it's a passive interest to like okay, but what does an API do? What does these what would they say like a lower level API has that effect? And they say higher clock speeds. Like at the very least, something like this would be like a passing interest. Like, well, let me Google this and try to get a better understanding of like how everything works, or at least what does this specific piece of hardware do in a computer or in a game console, or what's it supposed to do when it comes to like gaming or stuff like that
right.
is
Yeah.
always interesting. 'Cause I see something like this and I'm sitting like I could probably Google that at least get a more passive understanding of like what it's doing behind the scenes.
Right.
But
So we've also got. I just wanted to very quickly mention this one because
oh no, you're fine.
the game doesn't look good to me at all, which sucks because we had a couple really good Transformers games on 360 and PS3, like phenomenal games. They were like games that non-Transformer fans would play because you could play them online. They had a really good story.
Yeah.
But we got this Transformers Galactic Trials game announced, and it's published by Outright Games, and developed by 3D Clouds, of course, studios I've never heard of. The game just doesn't look good, and to me, it doesn't actually say here with what I have in front of me, but it almost looks like it's trying to be potentially like an online. I can't tell. It says it has a single player mode, but it looks like it's built to be an online game to me. But it's like
a racing game.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid of a racing game, and like a kind of a platformer, because some of the screenshots you can see is like platforming element. They're like flying in the sky, so it looks like it says a rip-roaring adventure, and it doesn't really say what it is. It says there's battle race circuits, and then you can play as Autobots and Decepticons. So I don't know. There's a trailer out there for it, but it looks like a weird mashup. It does have a single player mode, but it looks awful. So it's disappointing.
Yeah. Sorry about that. My AC was kicking on. It was bugging me, and I was getting real cold.
Oh, you didn't even know you were gone.
Yeah, I needed to run take care of that real quick. So the sun's gone down. I'm not getting roasted outside with the heat.
Dang, I was hoping he was going to be getting roasted tonight, man.
That's the nice part about living in a quasi-desert. Like, it might get into the 80s, 90s during the day, but it's going to tank like 30 degrees overnight. Like, the moment the sun goes down, the heat starts going away. It's really nice.
Well, speaking of which, did you hear about the new Nintendo Switch Online icons that you can get that's limited right now for playing the actual Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2? The lost levels.
All my money. I don't love anything more than I love icons that have no more. It's a PNG on my profile.
Well, I'll tell you what. I got the Bowser one. I think they're 10 coins, so I think I'm gonna get them all because they are limited. All you have to do is load up the game real quick, and then you can get them. That's it. But I did end up playing really for a little bit because that game is brutally. I have beat it when it came out on the Wii for the first time in America. It came out on the Wii Shop channel there, and Virtual Console, if you will, and it is a brutally hard game, and that's why it didn't come out here, because it's too hard for Americans. But no, I think I'm gonna grab them because they're all 10 coins. And then I did something, I didn't see it, but if you go on, I did it on mobile on my phone. It'll pop up if you like find these icons on the Tears of the Kingdom website. You gotta like find these pictures, and then the Splatoon website, you get I think 50 or 100 coins for each one. So I did that and just got a bunch of coins. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I mean, as you know, like you get 50 coins for buying a Nintendo game. So I was like 100 coins, or however much it was. It's like, I'll take it.
You get them passively.
It was a lot. So anyway, yeah, I grabbed the Bowser one, and the sprites look really different than the first game.
Yeah.
Like they're just like a touch, a shade like darker, kind of. I don't know how to explain it.
It's possible. I know Peach still doesn't look like modern day Peach. These old games, she looks like the
Princess Toadstool. That's what my Mario books always. I mean, like she was called that.
Isn't Princess Toadstool and Peach technically the same thing?
It's the same thing.
For whatever reason, they
Mario,
changed her name.
Like kids' books when I was growing up, like that's what they called her, and then King Koopa for Bowser.
I don't know how they decided to change. They changed their names. I know in the original Donkey Kong, it wasn't Peach / Toadstool.
That's a different character. That's
It was, but she shows back up in the last big Mario game because she's part of the whole city. I just can't remember her name. I haven't played the game in years.
I can't remember her name either. I don't know why. But yeah, interesting stuff. He said
it's like a minor thing.
Oh, Mr. Coffee said 100 coins. Yeah, so it's a lot. Go do that if you haven't done it. I didn't know it was a thing. It must have been up there for a while. And then Mr. Coffee also said, is it me or did a lot of games peak on the PS3? There were so many weird and different games. I think that's the best generation, PS3 and 360. In my opinion, I feel like that generation just banger after banger after banger for those consoles.
That's like probably the last.
And then you got the Wii. Throw the Wii in there, whether you like.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of bangers on there too. And I just think it was an excellent generation.
Yeah, I just think it's like probably the last generation where a lot of these studios were making games for the love of games, not for bottom line. And you started to see it in the PS4, Xbox One area where it just felt like you were following a formula that would essentially sell, not necessarily you started to feel as that generation went on, the heart and the soul of some of these games kind of start going away.
I agree. Yeah, a lot of those games. I mean, like I don't know, random one because it's one of my favorites, like Far Cry 3, for instance. I think generally everybody agrees that's like the peak of the series. Came out in that console generation. That is listed all the time, and it's in my top 5. But like the top 50 games of all time for good reason. And I was bringing up those Transformer games. Those are the best Transformer games ever made. Like those are just like it could be any other franchise. It's just a good game, and you could tell like those people loved that series. Like at least some of the people on the team really cared about because they were so good.
Our ads.
Yeah, because you say that pull up like a list of just some 360 games in general. Some of the first ones that pop up are arguably Halo 3, arguably the best Halo game. BioShock, Skyrim. You got Portal 2, the OG Red Dead Redemption, GTA 5. It's crazy.
Sorry about that. I just, one of those dang ads pop up and just blasted.
Oh no, fair enough.
I hate having
you had like the Gears of War games, the Mass Effect games came out in the generation. There's a lot of good games that came out on the 360.
The best Halo came out of that generation. The best Gears of War. Like PS3. You had really good. I'm trying to think here.
Well, I guess you had Mass Effect 1,
first party.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Well, that was a third party, but
Yeah, I mean, there was so much that came out that generation, just phenomenal consoles. And I think like if there's, any like library of consoles, it's like that's your desert island system or something. It's not necessarily my favorite, but overall I think it had the most amount of games that were really good and just felt like a good time in gaming.
Yeah, got our best Borderlands 2, and then cannot forget it's the generation that spawned the Guitar Hero.
No, that was PS2.
Craze.
PS2.
Is that PS2?
Yeah.
I only knew about Guitar Hero from the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
1 and 2 came out on PS2 because I've got them.
Well, whatever.
And then like the other ones came out. Hey, chill out.
I don't know my
sir.
plastic. I don't know my plastic guitar games all that well.
You need to get good on that, man.
Get good scrub.
What else do we got?
We got a list of some games on the PlayStation Plus coming out in July. So it was we got Genshin Impact or bonus content for that game if you play it. I'm not into those
Me neither.
Gacha games essentially. Among Us, which I feel like is long since past its month-long craze. NHL 24, and then obviously the big one is Borderlands 3. Which at free, I think it's worth it.
Is it the Ultimate Edition? I assume it's got to be.
I'm pretty sure it's just the base game.
Oh, avoid that. Just give.
You're getting a free version of it. But
I don't know, man. Fun on multiplayer in that game, but it's just not.
Borderlands 3 is great if you just turn off the characters talking, because the story, the non-DLC story is just terrible. If you ask me.
I agree.
We could retread that issue all day long.
It's fun to play with friends though too. I think the multiplayer is really fun. Like the gameplay is great. Like great gameplay. It's everything else.
Gameplay. It beats out Borderlands 2 in gameplay. It's just, I'm sorry, Handsome Jack is such a good villain. I don't think they're ever gonna top him.
No, I agree.
And definitely not with the evil Twitch live streamer gimmick that they pulled with the main villains.
Evil Twitch live streamer.
But
yeah, I mean it's not it's like a 6 out of 10 or something, maybe 7 out of 10. The gameplay's great, fantastic, the best in the series, but
yeah,
it's like the story and everything else for me just didn't get
because they had it's the Calypso twins, or like they'd always end their videos where they were doing with the whole like, comment, and obey or something like that. The twist on their regular like YouTuber stuff.
Really honed in.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just like it's you're trying to be too meta, and it very obviously didn't work out.
Yeah, to me, I just thought it was kind of stupid. But
yeah, it's like it's like an old guy trying to relate the whole "hello, fellow kids" is kind of like how the writers came off, and it didn't land at all.
No, it didn't.
But no, I feel like we've tread down that path a few times already on the podcast.
We have passionate about Borderlands. That's all.
But we got some news. Apparently, Nintendo will no longer fix Wii U's that are broken anymore.
Yeah,
they're like fully have gone past any support. They've long since shut down the eShop for it. Now they're like, yeah, we're not gonna repair this anymore, which was probably an inevitable thing to come.
To be honest, I didn't know that they were still repairing them. I knew that they were with 3DSs just because I've seen some stuff pop up. But basically, they aren't able to get all the parts. So that was it. Like they're like, we can't get these parts anymore. Not made anymore.
Yeah. So at this point, like if you want to fix a Wii U, either you need to be third party, or you better start hoarding a bunch of Wii U's for spare parts.
Or just learn how to fix it yourself, or find something. They're not like people repairing stuff all the time, but
yeah, I'm sure you can find second party, as well as I'm pretty sure for most people, you probably get another decade or so out of it before they really start, hardware starts falling apart or starts getting old and failing and stuff like that. So
generally, if you take care of the system, it should last for quite some time. Like they're pretty sturdy systems.
Like my SNES and 64
moved around 100 times and it's good.
Yeah. My SNES and 64 still technically work, even though it takes like a half hour to get a game to start, but they still technically work. They probably do need some work, but the fact that it's been like 30 years and I can still technically, it takes some finagling, but I can still technically get a game to work on it with no maintenance on that game at all.
All you need is just new pin connectors, super cheap, and probably I would say like the easiest thing to do as far as, but like NES for instance, the 72 pin connectors, generally you're gonna have, that's what causes that issue. You need new pins, like they just corrode over time. Like they're tanks.
Yeah, because you're blowing on it, you're like licking it. Like I just need a connection.
Oh yeah, like that.
Kids these days just don't understand the struggle, and it clearly says on the back, "Don't blow on it," but everyone does that on the cartridge.
I know, right? I didn't know it said that for years, but
I feel like it's more of like a placebo effect that it probably didn't actually do anything. You just did it, and
did nothing,
and it worked. So
all it is,
talk about it.
That what's causing that is that pin connector being loose. Like they would ship with like semi-loose connectors, even. So it isn't even like a being old thing. Like some of those connectors were just loose. So all it was you taking it out and putting it back in again. You just have to have the traces need to hit right on the connectors. So you're just moving it differently, and that's it. The blowing is not a thing.
Like I've had this game for less than 5 years, and you've been doing it for forever.
Dude,
not just like reseeding it. Essentially,
I was doing it back then, so like it was just that's how they were. Like they're tanks, but those connectors, resoldering, reflowing them, that's literally all you need to do then. And now, like they're $5 to replace the connector. Like, they're cheap.
I'm pretty sure blowing on it is adding more
corrosion.
Humidity, and it's corroding it because you're like putting more. The moisture out of your mouth is going on to it.
Yeah, it's super bad.
It might give you that. It might give you that short-term help with the connection, but long-term it's just going to corrode and rust.
Yeah, it's not good. Don't do that. But I will say I did do it. I don't know, like occasionally I still did it. Just caught myself doing it. You know what I mean?
I still do it. It's like,
I just catching myself doing it. I'm like, what am I doing? I gotta stop doing this.
Force a habit. I've done this for 20 years, but immediately.
I've done this for 20 years.
You youngins don't understand with your discs and your hard drives and your non-existent physical media.
Oh God!
Back in my day, I can't do the old man voice properly.
Love it. What else do we got?
We got some other stuff. GTA 5 is apparently getting some kick-ass story DLC that was, I guess, originally scrapped because the GTA Online was just making them bank.
Yeah, I saw this get put out kind of everywhere. So I thought this was interesting. As an ex-developer saying this, so they just said, it was like cash grab, and it got scrapped. But I don't know, like, are you allowed to speak on that stuff when you leave? Like, there's probably like an NDA, right? I would think.
Yeah, Well, it
or
depends on
something like that.
whether
Rockstar.
first of all, it depends on whether they find out who said it. And I don't know if there's like a end of life on those NDAs. Like I assume they don't last forever. Eventually, that NDA is going to end.
But the ex developer said it. He said it was kick ass. So
Yeah. Either he didn't care about them coming after him. He's like they're probably not going to care, or the NDA ran out. I don't know how the contract works because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I haven't physically laid eyes on how the contract's written. So
yeah, he said.
I can imagine at this point. I don't know why they would care. They're about
Yeah,
the GTA
maybe.
6 is all anybody's really going to talk about at this point. So
Yeah, he said that the actor that played Trevor Phillips is a very important part of it. So they're saying that Trevor was very much attached to
we could have
the
had
story.
we could add more Trevor, Crazy Trevor. He's like the best. He makes that game.
He does, but I'll be honest. I've said it before. I'm not like a big GTA 5 fan. It's not by no means my favorite. I don't like GTA Online at all. Just not my thing. At least what I played, it's been minimal. But it's for some reason GTA 5. I've owned it like 3 times and I've never beat it. I've owned it on like 3 different consoles. I've never beat it. So I don't
downloaded
know.
it on PC, and I think I got 80% of the way through the game. And then I got a new hard drive. I lost literally all my progress, and I was like, I'm not restarting this game from the beginning. I'm done.
Yeah.
It was a matter of I was actively playing the game. Something happened where either I got a new computer or I had to reset something, and I lost my save file, and I was like 14 to 20 hours in or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm not restarting this over again just to catch up. I bowed out at that point, or I would have beaten it because I think I was playing it back in I was playing it back in 2018 or no 2016 I think is when I was playing it.
Yeah, it's God. This game's like so old at this point. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
GTA
Online really made them a lot of money to not
really
care about a sequel.
It really did. They finally do, but it's because they kind of have to at this point. It's like, what do you do? You know what I mean?
The game's just that old. Eventually, the profit's gonna start drying up. You need new people to come back in.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with GTA Online, like sort of transition, because it's just such a massive moneymaker that, like, I imagine they've got to be kind of scared about it. Like, how are we going to do this? Are we making a GTA Online 2, or is it just going to be just a shift? Like you ain't even going to be able to tell the difference.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just come shut down the old server, bring up the new server, and you have to start from scratch, and they just don't care because I feel like it's still gonna sell.
It can't just be like a super smooth transition because they have to be using the character models from the new game. So it can't just be this is moving over and it looks completely different now.
I assume you're gonna have to get the second game. It's gonna be a whole new thing, is my guess, because money. It's better to not be able to carry over stuff, but I don't know. I assume it's probably gonna be like with GTA 5 that there's gonna be a delay from when the game comes out to when the online comes out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. I'm like curious. Not that I necessarily care.
We're still like,
I don't even know if I'm gonna play it, but
I
mean, I want to play the
game
plus
out.
But I don't know about the online thing. We'll see. Maybe it'll capture me with this. However they transition this. So I don't know. I just couldn't get into GTA Online, but I'm also like not a big online. The only time I really like to do it now is with like, actual friends. Like, that's fun when you can actually talk to your buddy.
You hop into a random server, you're just immediately getting like jet rammed and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just can't do it anymore.
Or it's like we're taking ourselves too seriously role playing server.
Ugh.
I've seen some of those. I'm like, I don't know how you can just live a whole second life.
Dude, those are so cringe to me. They're very, very popular. I know the role playing stuff very popular, so I might get hate for saying that, but
it's like as cringe as like back in like 2006 when you're making like fan fiction of your favorite show or video game, and you just quite literally self-insert your character in, because that's me. I'm the main character. Step aside. What's your face?
Yeah, you're a side character. Get out of here.
Like I remember the cringe from back in the day. Don't get me wrong.
Some of his fan fictions, man. People were wild. They were rough. It's a rough time.
You pretty much have to. If you really want to go down the rabbit hole, you really have to look for like decent ones, because most of them are just trash.
Yeah, for sure.
But got some stuff from Dragon Quest 3, the HD 2D remake, which is just too long of a
Terrible
name,
name.
really.
Terrible name.
Terrible name. But it was reported by Niche Gamer yesterday, actually, that the Square Enix essentially comes out and confirmed about there's no genders in the game for I think they said the subclass. So I've not played the original games. I think I mentioned before, my introduction to Dragon Quest was the World Tree game, essentially, which I think is more of like a spin-off.
Yeah, it's a spin-off.
But they said the new Dragon Quest remake, it lists the two genders as the article says dreaded type A and type B instead of male and female, essentially.
Interesting.
Which is, it's like a small thing, but
is that like a political based
yeah,
thing?
You're going down. Most people that see this
has been in video games forever.
But they say it's releasing the male and female, because I think I originally saw this. It was making the rounds on the internet, but I'm trying to remember the YouTuber that I first saw the report of this. I think it was.
Oh, you actually keep up with stuff? I wasn't aware of that.
It depends on what some of these channels. It's not. It's not. I remember it wasn't Yellow Flash who did this. It was somebody else that I watched it. I'm just blanking on his name right now. No, Rev Says Desu is the one I was watching when he talked about it. And a lot of people that saw this, the whole thing is, there's DEI. People are complaining because like that's. I guess there's two arguments. Is like, why'd you make this change? Like, well, it's a small thing. Why do you care? It's like, well, if it's a small thing, who cares? And it comes down to the whole DEI in gaming, which is kind of like realistically like the whole you need to be gender inclusive and all other fun stuff.
I will say the type A and type B thing's been in video games for a long time though. That's like a pretty general thing. Dragon's Dogma, the first one, was like that.
Apparently, in the original, just be pick the male, female, but that's become super controversial now. So,
yeah, I mean, it's different if it's like that's what was in the original game because it's a remake, whatever.
Yeah. But I guess the other big thing is, there are people that are intentionally looking for after the whole blow, especially with the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff. And the whole DEI and stuff like that. There's people that are intentionally looking for this stuff. And when you look at stuff that's in the news, obviously, it's by default negativity sells. So people are going to see this and hyper latch onto it and blow it out, even though it's not really going to have a big impact, but it's not like you haven't seen issues before. And especially when we deal with like Japanese games and especially like manga and anime, the whole translation industry itself has had some controversies about translators intentionally changing meanings and stuff that essentially goes against the source material about what the original authors intended. Like that's been an issue going on for years now at this point. So, in grand scheme of thing, it's probably insignificant, but everybody says like, oh, that's just like the first step. Like if you let this go, then you're gonna take it even more. And obviously, the whole DEI Sweet Baby's been blowing up here recently, so. Everyone's gonna hyper focus on this, but
I think this is more of a kind of blowing it out of proportion a little bit. To me, that's like
I can see both sides of the argument. I think both sides have merit.
There's others
without really going down a huge rabbit hole that this is, but I guess the idea is hopefully you're not making major script changes from the original game and stuff like that.
Right.
But still have hope for the game. Still looking forward to it. It's a game I haven't played, but. Yeah, it's always fun to see, what makes the headlines, what people end up talking about.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if there's anything else on it, but I don't. To me, it's like whatever. Like
it's just that one small little thing.
Like I don't care anymore. Everything's blown out of proportion. Like I get tired of hearing about all of it. And everything. I feel like they're purposely digging for absolutely anything negative to find. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mr. Coffee brought up but people bringing up that Square Enix dodged the question from the shareholder meetings about why they're working with Sweet Baby. I definitely remember seeing that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So there's definitely people
because I love
regardless how you want to look at it, when people start criticizing DEI or especially Sweet Baby or other companies like it, it's definitely looked at as bad publicity. It's like, oh, you're working with this? Well, I'm not even going to touch your game. Like. At the very least, it's bad. It's a bad news cycle. It's a bad look for you. So
right. I actually haven't heard because I know we definitely haven't brought it up anything about the Sweet Baby thing in at least a few weeks. Like obviously all the stuff that was kind of attached to that is everywhere. but like specifically Sweet Baby, I haven't heard anything about it. We definitely haven't talked about it, and I keep up with it because I have to. But
yeah, it's usually not Sweet Baby saying something. It's like, oh, we see a thing that we associate with, say, DEI, oh, you're working with said company like Sweet Baby Inc. or them specifically, and then you're essentially connecting the dot and being like, we're gonna blow the whistle. We don't want people buying your game because we want you to stop working with this company or stop putting this stuff in your game, essentially. And when it gets vocal, even a vocal minority can impact what people buy. Or people, there are some people that are passive, not really in the community, but they hear bad things from the people they know, and it potentially turns them off. And then obviously shareholders, when you have bad publicity and it lowers sales, they don't like that because now either they're losing money or they're not making as much money as well. So that can cause issues and stuff like that, which I feel like was probably brought up at the shareholder meeting. And then very obviously they're just like, we don't really want to talk about it for X, Y, and Z, because if we make a definitive statement,
investors,
people are gonna latch onto this and it's gonna make headlines and it's gonna blow up. And then you got people defending it and people attacking it, and it's gonna be a nightmare that they obviously want to avoid. But
right,
that's the whole that whole problem, that the whole Gamergate 2 or Sweet Baby stuff that you want to talk about. I think it's not going away anytime soon. But it's a whole culture war issue if you really want to dig into that problem. I think it's relevant to talk about, but don't like talking about it at the end of the day. I'd just rather be like, this is a good or a bad game. I don't care about everything else going on.
Yeah,
I play games to detach from everything else going on in reality. I get enough of that from like the regular news cycle and politics.
Isn't that crazy though, that's like your sort of escapism, and it's just thrown into everything that you like too, and it just...
I mean that's why some people go after it, because like I get enough of this elsewhere. Like I don't want this in this medium. But
I hate it. I mean, it bothers me a lot because it's like you're invading all the things I love too to get away from all this crap I have to hear about all the time. It's like, it's just unfortunate, but whatever.
But on some lighter news, talk enough about some depressing, some negative stuff. NIS America has announced the release, or the Western release, for The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2. I think they are trying to pull up the actual. So it's coming in sometime in 2025.
Yeah.
Apparently it's the 2022 released sequel to the long-running game, but it didn't, obviously, for whatever reason, didn't come out here. So we're getting it like 3 years later.
At least we're getting it, though. I'm excited because it's funny. That was actually what was that Trails game that came out we did the video on? I went back and was watching that because I was like trying to pull some stuff up and see some things that we did before. And that game, I still haven't played it, but man, that game looks really good. That one I have on my shelf. I need to get around to playing it because I love the Trails games. But yeah, I mean, this game looks cool too. I'm really excited about this one. Like, legitimately super excited. But yeah, I think it's Trails of Reverie, right, that we did the video on?
Oh, yeah, I think it was. I saw this, and I'm like, man, I need to go back and actually finish Trails in the Sky.
Dude,
I still haven't beaten that game.
You were streaming that, right?
Yeah, and I just don't think I'm gonna get around to probably...
You had a guy that I remember I told you about a month ago that was still... Is Mark going to still play this game? He, like, messaged me on Discord.
And that's, like, the one reason I haven't gone back to that game specifically. Like, I want to play it, but, like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back around to streaming it in a realistic time frame. So, like, I've been holding off on wanting to go back and play it, but I don't know, just a lot of stuff kind of gets in the way for me having the time to do stuff like that, unfortunately.
How many times did you stream it? Because he was coming in every time, right? He was like your dude, man.
Quite a few. It was a few weeks because I was pulling up my Steam. Steam saying I played 25.3 hours of the game, and I think I played about 3 to 4 hours every time I ended up streaming it. So, like, I played it for a hot second, and then life got in the way, and now I'm just super busy with other stuff, and it's hard to find time to do some other stuff just because there's other stuff I have to, like, prioritize in my life, stuff that actually pays bills. Well, I got a job, whatever. I got a job in school. Like, well, in the next, like, within, like, the next 9 months, should be done with my bachelor's degree, so that'll be really nice.
Excuses.
Trying to whatever.
This game looks really good, though. I'm pretty excited about it. I need to play Reverie because I got it on my shelf. I haven't even opened it yet. There's so many games to get to. It's a anytime I see like there's just so much.
Yeah, as far as like the time, it's like
that's
12. Like, oh, I've got 3 months of summer doing nothing.
It's always the trade-off of, oh, we can't get all the games we want as a kid. We got all the time in the world,
Yeah,
but then it's the opposite. Now we don't have time.
I could buy all the games I want now, and then it's just hard to buy time. And I'm buying them on Steam. I'm gonna play them there, but every time obviously goes back. Like if I see a physical copy, I'll buy it. God knows if I'll ever actually play it physical. But I just wanted physical game.
Sure. This is one to have physical for sure.
Well, because this one, yeah, they say it's coming to PC via Steam, GOG, Epic Game Store, Switch, PS4, and PS5. So I'm gonna get it on Steam, but I'll probably also just get a PS5 copy, and then it's probably just gonna sit on the shelf. But I just want a physical copy of the game. Even if I'm playing the Steam version, because I'm biased. If I can play it on PC, I think that's the superior platform. That's why I would prefer. But still, I can have a backup physical copy just in case.
I would normally say yes, but for me, games like this, like RPGs like this, JRPGs especially, I just cannot. They just feel out of place on PC for me. I don't know what it is. Now, if it's an FPS or a 3D platform or something like that, all day.
But it's like a role-playing game. I mean, Tales of Arise, I don't think plays super well on PC. You're better off just using a controller, not keyboard and mouse. I think it had a really bad port.
Like something like games like this just feel better to me on console. I'm not saying like the game's actually better, but I don't know what it is. JRPGs it's never screamed PC to me.
When I was playing the Trails in the Sky, I think I didn't have an issue because it's that old school turn-based combat, and you're just moving, essentially a PNG character around a map. So I think it works just fine on either PC or console. But obviously, when you start bringing in like 3D elements, it can, if it's not done properly, say porting it to PC, it's going to be a really bad port and it's not going to control well.
Do you plan on pre-ordering this one or anything, or?
Probably not. I'll probably just, considering I've got a lot of other games to play before it, I'll probably just pick up a physical copy and it's going to sit on my shelf for the PS5, and then I'm just going to add it to my library on Steam when I get around to playing it. But, I like these games. I want to support it. And for games that I like or a series that I like, I would like to, even if I don't hardly ever play it that way, I want to have a physical copy of it just to have a physical copy on the shelf.
Yeah.
Even if I end up never playing it, I can still be like, oh, yeah, I've got that game on the shelf. Or who knows, maybe I lose access to my PC, or maybe I just want to sit on a couch and play a game, and I'll just, go from one game on PC to playing the other game on a console or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm a little weird like that, but I've got the disposable income to buy a game twice. So I'll buy it physical. I'm probably years out from playing it on Steam, so I'll just wait till it's on a Steam sale where I can get it for like $10. I do pretty much all my games.
I've realized something, especially, I don't know, maybe like the last 6 months. There's nothing more valuable now to me than time. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like it sucks that like so dang busy all the time, because it's like, eventually I'm gonna, we're getting older. Eventually I might have arthritis or dementia or something. Realistically, we ain't got that long. I mean, if we're looking, time flies, dude.
Man, I'm still young. What are you talking about?
Get out of here.
You say that you go talk to your parents.
I can't remember stuff.
You said I'm just bad at names. I've been bad at names my whole life. That's nothing new.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I can remember a face, but man, even when I was like 19, I struggled with names and stuff like that. That's been an issue my whole life sometimes.
Yeah, you just struggle with everything. So.
You just gotta wait till you hit 70, so you're in that retirement age. You're sitting at a retirement home, and then you just play video games all day.
We say that, but you never know what type of state you're going to be in health-wise. You never know. Maybe you can.
Nah, man, VR is going to be a thing.
Controller.
That whole SAO nerve link's going to be a thing. So you're just going to plug your brain to a computer.
Yeah. Well.
Hey man, I'm gonna live forever. The whole Ghost in the Shell, where I'm just gonna put my mind in a machine. I'm gonna live forever, man.
What if Elon Musk passes away or something, like the project's canceled because they don't know what to do next?
That'll be a really sad day. I'm sure somebody else will take it over.
Oh, all right. Whatever you say. Anyway,
there's a market for tech like that.
So this story is pretty funny. You might know a little more about. I shared it on social media yesterday, but basically this guy in Warwickshire got arrested for having a Master Sword, and the photo is deceiving. You can look this up. He's everywhere. He's all over the I've seen people outraged about this because he's already been sentenced to prison, right? 5 years or something.
No, 4 months.
Oh, I thought it said 5 years. Well, regardless, yeah, it's a letter opener. So he said he was using it as a fidget toy.
Yeah,
I read that he's
it's a
using
small
a fidget
little
toy.
like replica thing. Like
It looks big in the picture, but it's like it's a letter. I've seen it in person. It's like this big. So
I think they say it's like 6 inches long from like from like end to end essentially.
that's what she said. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because like weapons are outlawed there. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like a replica little toy thing. Like, come on.
But the guy does look a little sketch. Mostly the tattoos on the neck. He doesn't exactly look like, he looks like he may have done some time before.
All they said was found guilty of having this on his person. Like, he didn't even do anything with it. So it's just everyone's outraged because like this is so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really want to talk about weapons, but yeah, they've got weapons outlawed there, so people have switched over to a different type of weapon, and they've got a problem there. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. This time I wish we could show images on here, but you could look it up. I went on the actual police website, I was looking on there, and there isn't much more info out there, so I don't know.
Yeah, because it's happened.
It's very small and kind of crazy. I don't. How do they even see it? It's tiny.
Yeah, I have no idea. Because apparently it happened in Warwickshire, which I'm pretty sure is England or something like that.
It's UK,
yeah, it's the UK. Yeah. But at least on what Niche Gamer wrote, the last paragraph they put, in a 12-month period ending in March of 23, they had 244 fatal stabbings in England and Wales, with 101 of those coming from like household kitchen knives, which are far larger than 6 inches. Trust me. But they specifically at the very end, like, we haven't been able to find any statistics on master swords. So
I don't know.
Nobody's stabbed anybody with a master sword. So
I mean, like, you're not even. Yeah, that'd be awfully hard to get somebody. I don't know. A little crazy, but somebody did point out, because this is true. Seen this in person. These are in like some of the Zelda groups and stuff. I've seen people posting that end of the sword is dull. It's like because letter opener, right? Like, they're not like sharp on the end. They're dull.
No, you're just ripping paper. It's like a toy sword, anyways. It's not gonna be like kitchen knife sharp.
Well, there's a point on it. What I'm saying is, like, it didn't have a point on it. Like, it didn't come with a point on it. So like, he must have shaved it down, because it doesn't look like that. That's not how it comes.
But everything that we've seen, he wasn't like attacking somebody. So
I mean, it's the whole thing's pretty crazy. But he did make the news, so maybe he's gonna, he's getting a little
doubtful.
7 seconds of fame. But
all he needs to do is he better start or have somebody start a GoFundMe for him, profit off this.
There might already be one. Yeah, I mean, take advantage.
Or somebody like in what, Germany made one to just profit off of it, and not even give it person to related to him.
People donate to it. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've definitely seen those before, but
all right, do you want to move into the bigger stuff, I guess?
No, yeah, we go right into it. Just send it.
All right. So, did you see about Xbox Live going down? You see all that?
I heard about it. I don't have an Xbox, so I didn't experience it like firsthand.
I mean, Xbox Live, period. So, like, the whole service, PC, everything, Game Pass, all that jazz. But yeah, it was down. And I haven't seen like the resolution for it, but it was just like down. It was kind of like the PlayStation thing that happened. Like, it was just down. Xbox kept putting out on their Twitter that, hey, we're still working on it. This is going to take a little bit longer than we thought it was going to. And it was down the entire day, because I know at the end of the day, on the 4th, I tried to just log in just to see, because this was happening. I couldn't get in. So I saw that I put a poll out on YouTube, sorry, and people were still saying it was out. Like, they couldn't access it yesterday morning. So I don't know if it's been resolved, but there's no like actual reason for this. It's a little odd, So,
do they go down, or do they report like some kind of like attack on them?
They as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen anything that they've given like a reason for it. But I know they were struggling to get it back up, and like just the entire service was down. So
Yeah.
I don't
It's crazy
know.
when you have like a big company like Xbox or Microsoft or even Sony when it goes down for like especially like multiple days or multiple hours because like these they have a lot of resources and people that know what they're doing to go fix stuff. So if it's down for that long, it's definitely something big happened. They
Yeah,
just probably they don't want to come out and say what it was.
right. And the PlayStation Stars, I guess, is just now starting to roll out. Like people still can't get into it, but like it's just starting to go back up. Some people are able to access it in some places, but that's been down. It officially, if you count today, it's officially been down 3 days longer than that PlayStation takedown, which was down for 23 days. I don't know if you remember that, but it was down for a whole month basically. So
Yeah,
this,
before I had a PlayStation.
yeah, it's pretty
It's
crazy.
crazy.
I didn't have one at that time either, but I people were talking about it at work for days. Like, there was a lot of people that played games on. I used to work at a pizza shop. That's been a long time ago, but man, I'm telling you, dude, it's pretty crazy. There's no like reasoning for this, and things can just go down. And like, can't play your games. You have to
Yeah, it's
connect
the problem
online. You
with
can't play them.
yeah, one of the negatives when it comes to services needing to have an online connection even briefly. It goes down, oh, you can't play your game now.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing about these having to always be connected type games. Because that PlayStation at 23 days, like that's, I'd be angry.
They
You know?
lost a lot of money
Oh
if you
yeah,
were down that long.
and that was like an actual like public attack. So like we knew that like these companies can go down that easy. Like that was the first time where they're like, oh, we gotta like really be protected. And it's like
Yeah.
somebody at home can take down all these servers. That's crazy. But
I mean, it's digging into like computer security. It's crazy. Like even the top companies, like how hard it is to secure from like outside attacks and stuff like that.
did you hear about that? Oh, he was a kid that got into like government websites and all that stuff and was getting into everything. He's like, I think he's in 6th or 7th grade or something. He was like young, but he got into like some, I don't know, White House documents, but something about got into government servers, like a whole thing. He got arrested and all that stuff. And he's like young.
I guess I didn't hear that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty recent. I just heard about it 4 or 5 days ago or something. But man, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
considering how like I don't know, see, they're not because nothing's perfect, but like when like government agencies, like how secure they have their stuff and how hard it is to get in, to the point where it affects the
kid can
user's
figure it out.
performance. Or either he had a parent that worked for him, which made the whole process easier, or they just weren't properly secure. They had an easy vulnerability.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. So we've also got oh yeah, speaking of things having to be connected and online gaming. Battlefield 3, 4, and Hardline are just being delisted from 360 and PS3. No exact reason why this, but delisting, taking the servers down, and these obviously have
it says
single player.
Yeah, it says the servers are going down November 7th of this year. It's crazy. I guess it makes sense why they're bringing it down, but
Well, not delisting doesn't make sense.
yeah, like I guess they have no way to get rid of the online servers. Like it's just integrated into the game. Can you still get these games like on PS5 or
I don't
like
think
PS4,
so.
PS5, Xbox One?
Maybe.
Oh, I hope you have physical copies
No,
of these
I
games
mean
if you
like
want to
these
play
games.
them.
Yeah, these games are going down. Period. So if you can't access it on there, it doesn't make a difference. They're delisting
Yeah.
them.
Wasn't Hardline? Did Hardline even have a single player? I thought it was multiplayer only.
Really? I thought that had single player.
Maybe they
But that was
did.
like very heavy or story. I thought that one was kind of like a spin-off story.
I remember it not doing too well, or I don't know. Maybe that's just my reception at the time.
Maybe I'm mixing up Hardline. You might be right. I don't know. They are integrated. That's the problem. I definitely 2 and 3 for sure had like full-on stories, but
Well, I could still buy it on
3 and 4,
Steam,
sorry.
and it's sitting with with just shy of 2,000 reviews all time. It's sitting at mixed, but that's Steam, so
I'm seeing good stuff for them. 9.1, or that's Battlefield
No, I get. Yeah,
1942.
no, you're right. There is a single player campaign. I'm wrong. I'm not a big Battlefield person though, so
Yeah, I'm not like a big. I really like what's it called? Bad Company. I really like those games. I thought those were fun, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, another like, I guess go get these games physically, you know?
yeah. I should think. Battlefield 3. You can. I mean, you can get Battlefield 3 on Steam. For like $4 right now. It's 90% off. The
Yeah,
premium edition version of it.
there you go. Go grab it there then. So that's kind of a
Yeah. Well,
bummer.
they said it's only on those platforms, so maybe. I mean, I'm surprised those like the 360 and the PS3, like their online services still work.
Yeah, it's the
I
players
thought
who
they would have shut.
own the games either physically or digitally will still be able to play their single player portions. And all DLC will be, yeah. So that's the other thing that doesn't get talked about as much. But a lot of these games have DLC that you obviously can only get on the store. So like if you want to be able to have, I guess what you would say, a complete game. Go grab
Yeah.
this DLC, because that was one thing I was doing with the 3DS, Vita. All of those was making sure like I got the DLC that I wanted to too. It's something nobody ever talks about, that part of it. They're just like, this game's being taken down, you won't be able to access it on the store, but you're like also losing all this content. You don't go grab it and stuff that you're going to want to play at some point. Like, make sure you get that stuff too, because that's the stuff that isn't on a disc, for a lot of games, or isn't on a cart. Like, that's
Yeah, like
the
there's
only way
never
to get
some
it.
like ultimate edition.
Yeah, there's a lot of those where that stuff is stuck on the store that is being removed. So, uh, yeah, I guess go grab all that. It's being removed on the 31st, so you got the rest of this month right now.
Yeah.
Recording this on the 5th, so definitely go and grab that if you're a fan of those Battlefield games.
Yeah, sorry, I'm probably not gonna pick them up.
That's rude.
Yeah, I know it is.
So did you hear about this Nintendo AI stuff?
I did. This was definitely making like headline news.
Yeah, this was making like mainstream news, because that's where it's weird. Like a lot of this stuff pop up, and I see it coming from like mainstream news, or I see it pop on the TV or whatever. Yeah. What'd you see about this out there?
To make sure, pretty much they came out and they said they don't want to use generative AI. But I also saw some memes and stuff about it, like we know how to make a game. We don't need AI to help make games. I think
it's not
some
gonna
issues.
last long.
Yeah, but they also raise the issue of when it comes to like intellectual property rights, when it comes to dealing with AI and stuff like that, or how you could potentially use it. So,
I mean, I'm on board
I
with you, Nintendo, on this, but this is going to be interwoven in all of game development. Like, you're not going to be able to. It's going to be hard to. It's just going to be a part of game development very soon. But it is now.
At the very least, this will just affect like first party games as far as Nintendo goes. But like, they don't need to use it. And I think there's some good criticisms of when it comes of using AI. Of not only is it stealing from other intellectual property potentially, but it's
just a mix of everything that's already out there. So where's the originality going to be?
Yeah, that's the issue. Like, it's not real art. It's just a computer mashing stuff together. It's not actual
stuff that's like already out there. You know what I mean? Like, so where's the new? Yeah, I'm totally on board with what they're saying, and I for sure agree, because then you're not going to have anything actually new and creative. It's just pulling from everything that already exists. So
yeah, and I guess I can pull up. This is Furukawa's statement full. He said, in the game industry, AI-like technologies have long been used, for example, to control the movements of opponent characters. So I believe the game development and AI technology has always had a close relationship. Generative AI, which is becoming a big topic recently, can be used in creative ways, but we recognize that it may also raise issues with intellectual property rights. We have decades of know-how in creating the best gaming experience for our players. While we are open to utilizing technological developments, we will work to continue delivering value that is unique to Nintendo and cannot be created by technology alone. Is a little bit of like, PR speak, but pretty much saying, get good scrub. We don't need AI. to make to make good games.
I'm on board with that for sure, but I feel like it's just going to be more and more and more interwoven, and I feel like that's not going to last that long for them.
I don't think you need to, because they weren't saying AI. They were saying generative AI specifically is what they were going after, not AI in general. Because AI comes in the whole thing of just your opponents and how they act.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like we don't need AI to help us develop world to create art, essentially.
And they don't. I mean, they've been doing it for this long, and the company that's kept me coming back to games as much as I do. So I agree that they definitely don't. But
I think, in my personal opinion, I think this is the right move as far as generative AI, because I think it could potentially help with game development or shorten the time. It always has the idea of giving you something bland or essentially soulless. And I guess we won't really know in long term whether generative AI will actually be beneficial in the gaming industry, or it's gonna negatively impact it, or like we've got this AI machine, so we don't need as many people in the industry. We're just start cutting more jobs.
Right.
Because that's the only issue. Is like, well, if you can make a whole game with AI, I feel like some of these studios, like EA and Ubisoft, would go in a heartbeat because cheaper and faster.
Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft keeps laying off constantly. We got more to talk about that here shortly, but yeah, I mean, these companies like that just want to pump out games because they just want to bring in the money. Yeah, they're definitely going to be doing all this stuff. Anything they could streamline the process, save money, they're going to be all over. I promise you right now that those companies are going to do that, especially EA and Ubisoft for sure. Like those companies are going to go downhill. Yeah, that's it. There's going to be no more creativity. The Assassin's Creed games and stuff. Oh God, you're going to see that everywhere, man. I'm telling you. Like that's going to be a thing where it's going to become a problem for them because people are going to get tired of seeing the same type of thing over and over and stuff that. Speaking of which, we don't have this in the notes, but Ubisoft, there apparently is a scene, I want to say, from that newest Assassin's Creed game that we talked about last week, that's like pulled. Yeah. There's a part of it I saw that's like pulled from another Assassin's Creed game. Did you see that?
I didn't know.
I had to try to pull it up, but yeah, I saw this the other day. So that's like kind of bring up that exact thing. Assassin's Creed Mirage. I don't know. I'll try to pull it up, but yeah, it's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of this for sure. So I expect to be seeing this definitely.
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up, but I'm getting a bunch of other different stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up too. I did 100% see this the other day, a couple of places, but I don't know what to type because I'm I'm not seeing it, but there's a bunch of other crap out on here I see about Assassin's Creed that's not good.
Yeah, this is going to be controversial all the way through its launch.
Oh yeah, 100%. So we've also got Tales of Kenzera, Zao. I always mess this one up. Developer Surgent Studios hit with layoffs. So this was a little bit controversial because I did see an article earlier attached with the Sweet Baby to this, I guess, this game. But yeah, the Surgent Studios has developed this. This game is new too. Like this is a new game. Yeah. They put on X that unfortunately Surgent has joined the growing number of game studios. It's the same thing every time. Oh my God.
It's
the growing number of games.
Copy paste.
Dude, it's literally copy paste. Impacted by layoffs this year with just over a dozen people affected. It's a difficult time in the games industry, but we remain incredibly proud of our entire team's work on Zao and of the praise it has received from critics and players alike. Yeah, people love this game too, by the way. I heard it's really good. Our focus now is on supporting those affected. Yeah, right. Get out of here. Continue our work on Zao and looking to the future with our next. They are not. This is like what, the 4th or 5th time that copy paste has been there. We're going to support the people that are getting laid off. We're going to help them find new jobs, whatever. Like we've seen all of that all year.
No company would.
You let them go and you are not helping them. Like you're not
Not my problem. Either, hey, the game did well, we don't need you anymore, goodbye, or the game's maybe not, I don't know if it's selling as well, or this was always planned. I have no idea.
Yeah,
But I mean, it just goes to, more studios that are getting shut down or just doing layoffs because, I mean, the economy is just not ideal where you'd want it to be. And I feel like, especially like a lot of these companies just ballooned out of control. Like they hired more people than they should have to begin with.
right. I apologize for messing up the name. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Abu Bakr Salim. He was one of them that got laid off. He said, "Thank you so much to those who have checked in. This hurts deeply. This isn't the news I wanted to share today. I'm so proud of what the team has achieved over the course of these 4 years. When things got tough, every one of them stood up so strong. It was inspiring. So to be delivering this news today really sucks. I know we're not alone here, but that doesn't make it easier. The focus now is to continue supporting those." So this must be the head of the studio, actually, because he put it on his own account, like retweeted it. He said he said, "If you have any opportunities available or know of any going, please consider these incredibly talented people." Wow. All right.
Yeah, just another studio's getting gutted.
Yeah,
I saw
it's
somebody comment
unfortunate for
something.
those people, but
He's like, I saw someone make this comment. To the affected employees, play Zhao, a truly moving tale about how to go on in this world, etc. Get out, the surgeon HR. That's like that's the exact sentiment that they have. They don't care.
right. Nah, they don't care at all. These people don't care, man. It's all bottom. That's the unfortunate part, man. You know what I miss? I miss the time where we didn't think about money at all with video games. We just played them. That wasn't a thought.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking.
You're also a kid back then, so you didn't.
I know. I
miss.
miss that, man. I miss the sort of innocence
We
with
all
video
do.
games. But it's unfortunate. What else we got?
But more layoffs news. Some from Ubisoft that you had. Oh yeah, no. Ubisoft
Yeah.
lays off 30 plus Toronto devs.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was bringing up earlier, that we had more Ubisoft news.
Yeah, first thing you got EA, now you got Ubisoft.
Yeah, they're
who'd guessed?
right. So Ubisoft said the layoffs are part of a targeted realignment, in quotes, necessary to ensure it can deliver on its ambitious roadmap. That sounds like, I want to make all the money. We don't need you.
Yeah. You're costing money. Your games aren't selling as well, so we're just going to... You're the problem. Get out. I'm going to give myself a $10 million raise.
They said, fortunately, this will impact the roles of 33 team members who will be leaving Ubisoft. We are committed to providing comprehensive support to them, including severance and career assistance to help them through this transition. Oh, my God.
So we're giving you what we're either contractually or government mandated to give you and nothing more.
Yeah, we're not doing this because we want to. That's what
we're doing it because we have to. If we could just kick you to the curb and say goodbye, that's what we would do.
I mean, this is why you see, because I just saw, and I didn't put in the notes, and I don't remember which one it was, but I did see it earlier in the week, like Sunday, Monday, around that time. But another company joined a union. So I've never been in a union. I get the sort of premise of it, but you seem to say it was kind of more politically driven, right? Or like there was. We talked about it, and I've never been in unions, so I don't know.
I'm biased. I don't like unions, but that's me.
But
me alone.
would this help this situation for those people right now? Wouldn't that be a positive?
Depends on the union. Depends on what's negotiated.
Okay, so they also said the layoffs will slow down. Most of the big companies have made their moves. This is game industry, by the way. And hopefully they won't need to go further. Some analysts, speaking to GameIndustry.biz, I believe companies may now need to hire back up within a few years, but the pain isn't over. That's just an analyst, but now we're at more than 10,000 people have been laid off from those jobs this year alone across the industry. That's a lot of freaking jobs. And it doesn't seem like a big number, but it is. The game industry isn't like, the people
massive
working isn't like this gigantic thing that you might think it is. It really isn't. Because
I feel like it's starting to slow down a little bit, but that's only because of the current fiscal year that you're in. see how your numbers, end up with, games coming out the second half of the year, and then you're probably, if you're gonna see more layoffs, it's probably gonna happen next year once projections and stuff, and end of the year, like, all right, where do we stand financially and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, it all comes down to that. Speaking with investors, these business meetings, stuff like that. So like it's a
Like,
lot of timing thing too.
yeah,
Like has
this
all
was probably expected because, yeah, like I said, it's timing. For one, you got to, figure out, you got to talk with people. Oh, we laid a bunch of people off. Now we have to wait for our finances to kind of settle out and see where we're at as far as, sales and stuff goes. Plus, it's like kind of like what this happens. Like, oh, you just built a game? Okay, we're gonna lay like a quarter of you off. We don't need you anymore. Get out of here.
man, that's just
The
such
other
a
75% are gonna pick up your slack now for the next game.
it's such a bummer. But yeah. So we got some pretty big news next. So this is this one I've seen more than anything I think this week, and this is kind of an ongoing thing that we're sort of following real time. But Nintendo's latest piracy lawsuit. So basically, all right, I don't know how to explain this part exactly. There's a website. This is where I order my Mig Switch. It's called Modded Hardware. I want to say, yeah, Modded Hardware. So that's where I ordered my Mig Switch from. They are the people that Nintendo is going after right now. They refuse to shut down their stuff, so they're taking this guy to court. His name's Ryan Daly, that owns Modded Hardware, and I didn't know this guy just lives in Michigan. So he's like getting the Mig switches from the company and then like selling them through his website because he sells already modded switches with games on them. That's where he messed up. It wasn't the Mig switch. It was him selling Switch games with games already on. I mean, like switches with libraries of games already on it. So illegal copies of games. And the thing with this, it's different than like a lot of other stuff, is that like these games are tied to like a number in Nintendo system. So like if say you take Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online, that's somebody else's game. So Nintendo sees it's coming online on two different systems. You know what I mean? This far apart or at the same time, so they see that. But anyway, this is why Nintendo went after him. It's not even the Mig Switch, because flash carts by themselves aren't illegal. But if you put games on them and sell them that way, then it's illegal, right? So
yeah, because it's the actual game itself, which you start going into the legal territory that can get you in trouble.
And then the other thing is, in the U.S., you are allowed to back up your own games. This obviously makes sense because all media is in like one bubble altogether. You burnt CDs forever. The same thing, right? The ownership of that. If you own it, you're allowed to make a copy of said item. If you then transfer that copy to somebody else, that's the illegal part, right? So you're allowed to back up your game. Mig Switch, legal if you own the game. You can back it up on your PC and you got your save file, whatever. And that was like my interest in it, was like backing up my saves. I've say like Tears of the Kingdom, I've got, I know I'm going to have a ton of time in, and like the Pokemon games, like I want to back up my saves. That's like the big thing. But yeah, that's it. The kind of misconception with this, because a lot of the stuff coming out has, just because Mig Switch is like a hot name right now, people are, it is all together because they are selling those, but it's the guy's switches he's selling. If you go on his website, you can go on there right now. I just pulled it up. But yeah, I have emailed him, and I'll make this note on the podcast, 8 times now. I want my dumper. I paid for it. I paid for my dumper. Give me my dumper. You're still shipping stuff out. Your website is still up. I've talked to a few people. I'm going to be covering the Unlock Switch soon. They're sending a card out, and I've talked with other people. And 2 people I've talked to, they got the Mig Switch. They got their dumpers. So, like, they've been sent out. I've seen a YouTuber get one. So, like, he sent them out. I don't know what the problem is. Why I haven't gotten mine. I can't even use the thing for what I plan to use it for.
Yeah, should have sent them both out together.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And it makes me so angry. And now, like, we knew that they, like, made an announcement. Oh, hey, now we're going to sell them separately. But me, along with those other people, ordered them together. It was one bundled price for like 60-ish bucks. Now it's like 98 if you buy a bundle for both of them. So I just want my dumper, and then I'll never talk about modded hardware again. But 10 out of 10, do not recommend buying anything from these people. I'm angry. I want to take them to court because I want what I paid for. I don't care if it was a lollipop. It's the fact that I paid for it in one bundle. That is what was advertised for sale. I just want what I paid for. You know what I mean? It could be a pack of underwear. I don't care. I just want the item. So, but it's I don't know. What's your thoughts on this? That he refuses to take down the website, and Nintendo can't necessarily make him take down the website, apparently, because it's still up.
I mean, you're digging. I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to force something in the courts when it comes to stuff like this.
Who wants to mess with Nintendo in courts like this? I'd be scared to death.
I don't know. Maybe he feels like he's already screwed, so he's like, well, if I'm screwed, let's just go all the way and get like an actual, at least as far as the U.S.'s court ruling, or maybe he's hoping there's some legal gray area in there. I have no idea. Well, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know any of these laws.
We saw what happened to Gary Bowser. My God, he's paying for the. Do you see how much he's paying? Like they're taking.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous.
For the rest of his life.
I think that's just. I don't think it's ridiculous too.
They were making an example of him. I know what they were doing. They're like, let's, but obviously it didn't matter because this is going on, and I don't know why this idiot did that. Was selling those publicly. Like that's clearly obviously illegal.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is Nintendo. It's been public for what? Like, it's not even the Make Switch, which is kind of been brought in the news. But I don't know why you would do that. A lot of people. There's been a lot of other people talking about like saying the same thing. This guy's an idiot. Why would you do that? Why would you publicly advertise that after
stupid?
After the Gary Bowser situation, like that, to me.
Yeah. At least go to a country that doesn't care about this stuff and they can't come after you for.
Right. So yeah, I'm curious to see what. I legitimately am very curious to see what happens with this. Because Gary Bowser stuff was crazy. Prison and paying for I don't know how that guy's surviving. They're taking so much money from him.
Oh, he's not. He's not gonna be able to pay a dime of that back. He's not gonna be able to get a job.
No,
I think it's part of the problem when it comes to. Yeah, but I don't know. Technically, yeah, Nintendo, you're in the right legally, but you're never gonna get rid of piracy. Like this is a fight you're just never gonna win. Like I don't know how many times you have to fight this battle. It's the whole Streisand effect. You're gonna shut down one website, 2 others are gonna pop up. Like you're never gonna get rid of this problem.
So we do have some stuff said from his name's Ryan Daly. This is the guy selling this stuff. I'll read a little bit of this. So basically, it says the lawsuit comes after Nintendo allegedly offered modded hardware owner Ryan Daly an opportunity to walk away. So apparently, they offered him an opportunity to just take the website and walk away, which is crazy because this is Nintendo. We know how hard they go. And to refuse that opportunity to me is crazy because you are screwed, dude. But the gaming giant reached out to Daly in March 2024, according to the suit. And both parties agreed that modded hardware's business would stop, and it continued to operate as normal. However, a final warning in May 2024 allegedly didn't go anywhere either. So 2 warnings from Nintendo. As a result, Nintendo filed a lawsuit with a federal court in Seattle, Washington, seeking immediate closure of modded hardware and damages. And we got some stuff from Ryan. It says, typically when a customer purchases a hacked console or the circumvention services, defendant pre-installs on the console a portfolio of ready-to-play pirated games, including some of Nintendo's most popular titles like Mario, Zelda, and Metroid games, Nintendo lawsuit claimed. Indeed, because pirated Nintendo Switch games cannot be used or created without a hacked console and related software and hardware, it is only because of products and services such as those sold by defendant that illegal marketplaces distributing pirate games exist and thrive. So that's part of the lawsuit. They said that. So products and services such as alright, that's interesting. Nintendo also filed a lawsuit against James Williams, known as Archbox. I didn't know this part. For an alleged connection to several online pirate shops that see illegal copies of Nintendo games sold. So you know what Archbox is, right? We talked about it a few times. You have to look that up while I'm reading this to see what I'm talking about. But defendant is the operator, overseer, and driving force behind several pirate shops. I love that they're calling it pirate shops. Through which defendant has offered massive libraries of pirated Nintendo Switch games. Nintendo claimed. It also referenced the Switch Pirates Reddit community and noted Williams' presence there as a moderator, claiming they helped grow it to nearly 190,000 members and have posted thousands of comments since 2019. Defendants' posts have included, by the way of example, man, they're pulling up the Reddit posts, messages directing users to the pirate shops, soliciting donations of Nintendo eShop gift cards for the purchase of games, or even soliciting copies of Nintendo Switch games themselves to be copied and distributed on pirate shops, and offering technical advice and encouragement to other users about how to use the pirate shops, how to download and install software, and how to play pirated copies. Who is saying this? You keep saying pirate shops and the same things over and over, but yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. That is
I think he's screwed.
Yeah, Mr.
After they
Coffee,
gave him a chance to walk, if
two
they
chances.
legit gave him a chance
What?
to just pull it down, and they were going to go after him, then he's an idiot.
Yeah, for sure. Nintendo is saying that they gave him chances, so they're going to have to offer proof that they gave the chances. They're not an idiot. Lawyers are involved, so they definitely did, for sure. They're going to have to show that in court that they offered the chances. But Mr. Coffee said, "Do we have a game studio that's succeeding while employees are unionized?" And said it kind of sounds like a scam. They're responsible to give you what you paid for. Talking about my dumper. I'm surprised he is pulling this in the U.S. You have a better chance getting away if you lived in another country. Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. Every country has different laws. Like China, for example, Nintendo can't go after anybody for pirating games in China because of their laws. Can't go.
Yeah, because China doesn't care.
Can't go after them at all. There's nothing they can do in the legal system. So, like, they allow that from my understanding and research.
Yeah, it's been like a long issue though when it comes to like secondhand stuff in China.
Yeah,
or like stolen intellectual properties and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of shady stuff going on in China. Great Wall China. What we got next?
I got some news about the Dead Rising Deluxe Remastered. And they're saying it's going to run at 4K and 60 FPS in the RE engine.
Sir, did you watch the trailer for this game? Because this...
I didn't, no.
Holy crap. This looks a lot better than me and just about everybody else thought it would. It looks more along the lines of a remake. Not completely, but it looks like a very heavy remaster then. It looks really good. So, like, the crazy thing is that you can play the first Dead Rising. It came out physically on PS4, so you can play it on your PS5. But they redid everything, and if you watch that Capcom NEXT or on their YouTube or something, they showcase all the stuff that they did, and it's a lot. They put a lot of work in this game. I'm pretty excited for it. Mark, have you played these?
I haven't played a single game.
I think you would really enjoy this series. It's not a horror series. It's more.
I've seen gameplay of them. Yeah, I've seen gameplay of them, but I'm not actually played them.
Keep dropping.
You mean like be upfront? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I forgot what's going on for a second.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, I think you would kind of enjoy these games, but they're more like kind of over the top, like Lollipop Chainsaw, very much along the lines of Lollipop Chainsaw, very much like that, and they came first, obviously. If I can compare it to any game, it's that. It's really fun, like when you get trapped in the mall, you just gotta kind of find items or whatever to use, pretty much anything to survive. And then they implemented like other Capcom series, like I don't remember if it's Dead Rising 1 or 2, but you could get like a Mega Man X costume, you could like find it in the mall, and like they brought in like other Capcom series, like, you know, sort of Easter eggs and stuff. I think these games are very fun. Not a lot of people would play them because they haven't sold like a ton of copies, but like they've all been like, they were all brought to modern platforms at some point. There's even like a special game called Chop Till You Drop on the Wii. So there's a lot of games. Really fun though. So I think it looks pretty cool.
No, I'm sure it'll be a really good game for sure. Especially if it's going to be 4K 60 FPS for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Really good, smooth running game. Assuming it didn't, it's like, oh, it's 4K at like 15 FPS.
Right. All right, we'll try to run through basically everything else we got, I suppose. Kind of speed things. All right, so we'll move over to let's go and do your anime thing for the week. We'll kind of break these up. We'll do topics and then hit my retro spotlight and finish off with some of the other news that you found.
No, fair enough. I gotta pull this up for a second. So I guess this week, because I definitely gonna talk about it when we do our little anime podcast, but I'll dig into it today. It's Mobile Suit Gundam Seed.
Ugh. Just kidding.
It was one of the earlier Gundams that I watched. Obviously, any kind of mech or Mobile Suit Gundam show, it's gonna be like the mech, military, sci-fi, and stuff like that. But this was originally broadcasted in Japan from 2002 to 2003. And it essentially was a reimagining of the original Mobile Suit Gundam story from '79.
Yuck.
So it takes that old format. And obviously, if you've watched both, the stories are parallel in how a lot of stuff kind of plays out, but they're obviously very, very different in their actual story. So the actual idea is it starts, I think, 11 months into a war, because you've got what they call the plants, which is you have the plants in space, in like space colonies, and you got your Earth forces. But technically, you got what we call coordinators and naturals. So your naturals are kind of like us, normal people, birthed normally, but they've got coordinators, or people who were essentially genetically modified at birth, essentially, or before they were born, like when they're still like creating. Essentially, when they're putting in like the sperm into the egg, it's being modified at essentially that level. So you'd be like stronger, faster, smarter, essentially. And animosity eventually leads to like an all-out war and stuff like that. And following the original story, your space colony, who is supposed to lose, comes out, wins these big battles, and initially makes great gains, and then eventually it comes down to a standstill, and then it follows the same format, like only the Space Force, the coordinators have essentially mobile suits. But as the story goes on near the end, eventually now both sides have a form of mobile suit, and it's eventually a constant race against who can develop the better, the stronger weapon, essentially.
Right.
Without getting too far into spoilers, but like if you've seen the original, if you've watched the original, it follows the same model. Certain plot points kind of follow the same thing, but the story itself is obviously very different, because the original story goes off of essentially you've got people in at least a handful of space colonies that just don't like the Earth, and they just attack them by dropping a colony, on Australia. And the war starts.
I really liked Gundam Seed a lot back in the day. It's been a while since I've watched it. That might be one to like revisit and do in the anime podcast. Like watch the first 3 episodes or something, talk about it.
So if you're gonna watch anything now, back in 2011 they did a HD remaster of both Seed and Seed Destiny, because they originally aired in 4:3 format, 480i, and they did a upscale to it's 1080p, but essentially they put it on Blu-ray. And for the most part, it looks good. Obviously, there's scenes you can tell like you didn't upscale this at all. You just stretched it to fit the HD, the 1080p, and it wasn't done properly. Like most of it looks good, but you can obviously find scenes here or there. You're like, ooh, you didn't upscale that at all. Just looks like you took the 4:3 and fit it in widescreen, essentially. But it's for the most part, it's not too bad. As far as what we got here in the US, the HD remaster, because especially in Seed, they added certain scenes, things were changed more so than they were in Destiny, the sequel series. So they essentially had to redub both series, which they weren't able to get the old cast because they didn't want to pay as much money for something they knew wasn't going to make as much money here in the US. So it redubbed. And I've heard criticisms as far as that goes, but I don't think it's terrible as some people want to complain. But that's the whole sub dub issue. But I think it's ultimately it's a pretty good story. It's as far as the Japanese market goes, this series has sold the most physical media when it comes to like DVD sales of like any other Mobile Suit series in existence. So in that metric, it's arguably one of the most popular, because just a few months ago they just released Gundam Seed Freedom, which is a new movie. So 20 years later, you put a movie out there. There's got to be some popularity for it, and obviously, the mechs or the Gunpla is pretty popular for it as well. It's far more, I want to call it melodramatic compared to a lot of other Gundam series, but it's apart from the fighting, there's obviously a lot of the political aspect, which in some sense is kind of simplified compared to the original Universal Century timeline, because that's a whole thing you go down. But obviously it comes down to a lot of the character interactions as well. So,
right.
You gotta have to have an interest in some of that stuff, or you're gonna absolutely hate it, because while the original was 50 episodes, the remastered was, at least for Seed itself, was only 48 episodes. But that's because there were 2 recap episodes that they essentially got rid of, because if you're watching this on DVD or Blu-ray, you're gonna watch it within the span of like a few weeks, not 50 weeks, essentially, not the span of a year like it would originally aired in. So there's no need for recap episodes like every like 3.5 months or something like that.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's a decent show, especially as far as like as an entry to like the whole Mobile Suit franchise, the whole Gundam franchise. I think it does a really good job at that. I've recently gone back because I got the HD remasters and I rewatched it, and I was like, it's
it's good.
It's not my favorite Mobile Suit Gundam, but it's definitely top 10, potentially top 5 as far as Seed itself goes. And the sequels are always somewhat of a letdown, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone wants to complain about it.
People always be.
And then Seed Destiny is a whole issue because there was behind the scenes stuff in development that caused problems with that. But obviously, if you want to buy it on Blu-ray, you can buy them on Blu-ray essentially for the HD. If you want to get the old DVD, the 4.3, because I guess I've got all of them. Spend a lot of money if you really want to, because I think as of right now, you have to buy them in 2 seasons for both Seed and Seed Destiny. They're set in 2 sets, and they're about $60 to $70 a piece physically. So they definitely can be pricey. But I mean, if you've bought anime before, you're kind of used to that, as well as if you want to stream it online, it's obviously on Crunchyroll. But Crunchyroll only has the subbed version of the HD remasters, which is the only version they have. So that's the only downfall as far as that goes. But no, I think it's good. Definitely recommend it.
That's kind of a ripoff, though, ain't it?
Not really. At the time when it came out, it reimagined the original series, because essentially for the last decade, the bulk of the 90s, Gundam had been on a steady decline. Because I think you had G Gundam, then you had Gundam Wing. It's Turn A Gundam, and then after War X. I think that's the proper order they came out in.
I've never seen that one. That's the movie, right? Or is that the series?
No, that's the last standalone movie, I think, was in the late 80s, I think. With the F91 movie, I believe is what it's called. But essentially, from G Gundam to Wing to Turn A, and then afterwards, had been a steady decline and had been losing popularity. Like, compared to here in the U.S., Wing was not received very well. It was not a liked well show.
I know,
and I think rightfully so.
I
I'll
like
have criticisms for it.
I like it, but I get why people don't like it as much. But I liked it, and I've watched some more characters. I like that. The old school anime. I like the old school anime. Like that. I like
the animation.
Like Speed Racer and things like that. Like, yeah. I like that.
I have core issues with the characters. Like, your main characters are just cardboard. It's the
I get it.
It's the story as a whole isn't bad.
And like, don't I get it.
I
get why people don't like it.
There's core issues with the story itself, the writing and stuff like that. But it's the only one that did a unique turn on they call it the mobile dolls, but it's the only series that looked at say, hey, let's just put AI in a mobile suit.
Well, you know what?
It's the only series that I can remember that at the very least I've seen that went after that. Maybe because I need to go back and finish watching Double. I think I only watched like 10 episodes of it. Maybe that went down more of that route. I just can't remember.
I will stand behind saying that SD Gundam and Gundam Wing are the 2 best Gundam series.
Of all the Gundams that I've watched, Gundam Wing's definitely at the bottom.
What about SD Gundam?
I haven't watched it, but I'm probably not going to like it.
You never watched it on Cartoon Network? Are you serious? Never once?
SD. I remember watching Wing and G Gundam.
Oh, dude, that's where I watched. Yeah, I was watching new episodes and everything. I loved it.
G Gundam.
And I'm joking saying it's the best, but I do legitimately like it. I do actually like it.
G Gundam is another outlier because it's more of like a let's take Gundam and just smash it with Super Sentai
Yeah, that
and
one's
just
very
go
over the top.
hog wild.
But I like that
At least
stuff too. Like
it played into it.
that one I know about being very over the top. I haven't seen it, but I do love Super Sentai, and I love kaiju, and I love all that cheesy stuff. I love that stuff. Give me a man in a rubber suit any day, and I'll be happy. So
Yeah, but I mean, Seed was it reinvigorated the franchise, and it's still to this day, especially in Japan, a really popular franchise.
well,
But also very polarizing, especially at least here in the West. It is, especially with Destiny.
speaking of polarizing, I want to remind you guys to head over to the YouTube channel if you're listening to the audio and check out, at least as of now, the latest video on Metroid. There'll be another video next week, of course. I don't know on what yet. This will probably, hopefully, be out by Sunday. That's the hope. Sometimes I haven't been getting out till Monday, but as of now, the newest video is on Metroid Prime 4, so just want to pause and tell you guys to head over and check that video out.
Yeah, definitely. So, want to get into your retro spotlight now?
Let's do topics first, so we can kind of break it up. And then,
no, that's fine.
All right, so I guess first we have here, does Super Mario Brothers really have a timeline and story? Because this is a legitimate debate that's been going on for years, realistically, but I've seen it pop up again recently, and one of the Facebook groups I'm in, and people are talking about it, and why they categorize everything in a certain timeline, and then other people are like, "You're stupid. Mario's the same thing over and over," stuff like that.
I think it's just a platformer, personally. Like, I've never, unlike Zelda,
not just a platformer.
There are some games,
Mario Kart. There's Mario Maker.
Those are different games from what you would consider like your Super Mario Bros. Games.
Like 14 Mario parties that all have stories. They all have a story. So it's like,
it's a bare bones story, especially the older games.
But there is like kind of a ongoing story, sort of, but also like sort of not,
No, I would say no. I don't think there's a overarching story or a timeline. It's just a platforming game.
Well, see, like, what about Zelda then? Does Zelda not have a ongoing story, even though there's an official timeline? Like, people used to say the same thing. You're stupid. Zelda doesn't have an ongoing story.
Until Ocarina of Time, there was no ongoing story.
Right.
That's why they threw all those games into a timeline that technically don't make sense. They're just a bunch of random games.
1 and 2,
and then
for sure. Like the thing with 2 is the very beginning of the game when you're in the room with Zelda sleeping. It's like, well, that does make sense with some of the other games and stuff like that. But like the first game, for instance, like there was definitely the story was in the manual and it's minimal. A kid goes out in Hyrule and saves the land.
But all I was going to say is, like, everything pre-Ocarina of Time, it's just very obviously they're standalone stories. They're not really all that connected. Once you got Ocarina of Time, then it connects to, with the whole splitting of the timeline, they very deliberately made timeline, because then it goes to, when he goes back in time, he goes into, I'm terrible.
What? I don't know what you're...
The game that is the, what's it, the child timeline? Or the
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina Timeline goes into the one with the falling moon where the Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah, Majora's Mask.
To me, forever remember the name. That goes straight into Majora's Mask, but also in the timeline where he's not there anymore, we know it straight goes into Wind Waker, and then those have 2 DS spin-off games as well and stuff like that. And then Majora's Mask then very obviously leads into not Majora's Mask, but I should pull up a timeline.
Just to pull this up before I forget, Mr. Coffee said, I thought Gundam Thunderbolt was pretty amazing and the music was just as good.
Oh yeah, especially Gundam The Origin as well. I absolutely love that series.
And then he also said Zelda has connections between the games. Mario is more like isolated stories, a multiverses that way each game can be similar but have a slight difference.
I'd agree with that, because we just talked about Twilight Princess, more Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess than Four Swords Adventure, but these are all games that came after Ocarina of Time. Then obviously they went back in time with Skyward Sword and was it Minish Cap and stuff like that.
Yeah, yep.
But these are all games that came out very after the fact, where it's obvious they were trying to connect the games. But everything pre Ocarina of Time are just standalone stories. and that's why they're all in one timeline. That they just kind of just filled in the slots with random stuff to make it fit.
Yeah, I
At least
get
that's you know, they might say whatever they want. I think it's just too obvious that those games were not made with a timeline in mind. But
Now, what about like Pac-Man, for instance?
that's just an arcade game.
Not just really. What about Pac-Man World 1 and 2 and
Never
Pac-Man
played the
Party
games.
and Pac-Man Tournament Edition, and there's a lot of Pac-Man games out there. Pac-Pix for the DS.
Would it be bad to say I just don't care about Pac-Man?
Kinda. I love Pac-Man.
I don't care for Pac-Man, to be honest.
Yeah, because you're lame and you're not cultured. Mr. Coffee said,
Whatever.
also in one of the Zelda games, Link has to face off against an undead soldier, but there are hints dropped that soldier is a Link from another timeline.
That's
so,
in Twilight Princess.
Oh yeah. I was thinking
yeah.
Ocarina of Time in the woods, but yeah, Twilight Princess.
Because isn't it from
But
my
that's
understanding?
never
It's like
been
it's
confirmed,
him.
correct?
I can't remember.
I thought that was just like
but from what I understand, it's hinted that's him. That essentially, from what I thought we understood, because these aren't games I've fully played and beaten, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's like it was him in that child timeline. But after the Majora's Mask, essentially, the whole idea is you couldn't handle people not realizing who you were after everything you did, and it just you just spiraled down this rabbit hole, and that's just kind of what led him to be that skeleton knight, essentially, that helped you out. I can't remember if that's like
that was
canon or that's like fan.
That's where I'm getting confused, because that was rumored for years. I remember that being
because
talked about
you
on
watch
Nintendo forums.
You watch any like Zelda timeline on YouTube, and that's exactly what they'll tell you.
It very well might
Which
be.
I feel like
can. I don't have the Hyrule Historia anymore. I need to get those again.
Like I remember it's in Hyrule Historia, or they put it in one of the manga for it. I can't remember, but I feel like if there are some timelines people wouldn't be. I don't know, I have to go back and double check.
Yeah. So
the Heroes, yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. So I guess it's going to be a universal no on the Mario. Is Halo or Gears of War the better Microsoft property?
That's hard, because I think they both peaked at their third game, and they've been downhill ever since. I think they would say Halo, because I'm pretty sure it came out first, and Halo's really what sold Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Gears is a really iconic IP. I just think Gears is, outside of the 360 era, is just nobody really cares about it anymore.
What do you think is the better of the two? What series or franchise as a whole do you like better?
I've actually played the story of Gears, and I've only really played, outside of the first Halo game, I've just played multiplayer. So I haven't fully played both stories. But from everybody that I've seen or talked to, most people would say Halo.
Yeah, that's
the story. At least Halo 1, 2, and 3 for sure.
I like both. Like Gears of War obviously peaked on the 360. I actually like 2 better than 3, but I still do really like 3, Halo wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is very hard because they both kind of peaked. Gears of War came out not super long after Halo, but Halo came out first. Combat Evolved on PC and Xbox.
Yeah.
So
I think you think of Microsoft like their main.
It's
obviously
Master
Mario.
Chief, so
yeah, it's Master Chief is their Mario essentially.
Yeah,
can't say the same for Sony with PlayStation, but
it's unfortunate what's happened to Halo. Really, really sucks. I loved Halo, man. Loved it.
I think it's the problem with franchises that run their course. Like, very obviously, these are two franchises that hit the original studios that are, after these third games, like, that's it, we're done with the story, and it's Sony, or not Sony, but it's Microsoft pretty much saying, no, you have to make more games, and it's just like, well, we didn't plan for more games. We told the story we wanted to tell.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of why the stories kind of drop off.
Bungie left, after 3.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, 343, you're here to make Halo games, and it's not.
Yeah.
There's no long-term vision. It's just, we have to make Halo because that's what Microsoft wants. That's their main IP at this point.
I would have rather them had just left it where it was. After ODST 3, and then what was the other spinoff on 360 I liked? ODST.
I remember.
Crap. Halo Reach. I liked Halo Reach.
Oh,
After those, fell off for me realistically. 5 was okay. Didn't like the multiplayer. Story was okay. 4 was the opposite. liked the
It's very
multiplayer, hated
obvious.
the story.
It's very obvious. Bungie said we want to make 3 games, tell the story, and then we're done.
And they should.
And that's the problem with it with a franchise, especially when there's a story to it. At least the way Halo has worked is because I'm like, you just can't have this going on forever. Like you're just gonna keep making up new stuff. It's different with Mario because Mario or Zelda, because they're quasi self-contained, they're not pumped out constantly. Or I don't think in my mind all of a sudden I forgot it. But it's the idea of like, some games just work better when you're making it when you make more than one, but it's not like super reliant on the story itself to tell the story.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Here's the other problem is that these companies can't come up with another like big sort of, epic, larger than life story and character like that. Like come up with other original ideas that are because Halo from the beginning, you could kind of tell with that first game even that this is going to be like a series. Like you can tell this is not a standalone, like this isn't a one-off. Gears of War, you could say the same. And then obviously it's story, you knew that, sequel's coming. But it doesn't seem like they can do that anymore. And Nintendo, I give them credit for always trying, because like they did stuff like ARMS, which, is sold a lot, but I don't think it took off like they wanted to. I think they wanted that forget the character's name on the cover to sort of be like a continue, and it very well might be, who knows. But the other companies, I can't think of anything where they, The Last of Us from Sony, but that was PS3, that was 2 generations ago as well. So it's like,
hey, for better or for worse, at least Sony's willing to just dump their popular franchise and once it ran its course.
Right. I mean, like
like with Spyro, they just like,
right. So I was gonna bring up,
please stop making games.
Well, that's not a PlayStation brand. It just seemed like it because of the PS1, but it's on the Switch.
Yeah, but you get I guess you get the
Crash.
idea of what I'm coming at.
But yeah,
I guess it's a better one.
Right. So, and they have Jack and Daxter. Right. No, is that PlayStation? Yeah, that's PlayStation. Jack and Daxter's PlayStation. And Ratchet and Clank. They did do a new Ratchet and Clank that was phenomenal on the PS5. So I guess that has made a return. But like Jack and Daxter, for instance, was a really big franchise for them that we haven't seen anything in years, like a long time.
Yeah, they just stop making games.
And there's plenty of other examples I can't think of right now, but it's like some of you see, like they had the series Medieval. Do you remember those games on the PS1, Medieval 1 and 2? That's a series.
Play those old games.
People wanted that to make a return for a long time. They did do a remake on the PS4, but like nobody talks about it. I have it, it's good, but it was like just did not. I don't know. They didn't promote it because I don't remember seeing anything about it. I didn't even know it came out until I found it. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. But like there's a bunch of different examples, Twisted Metal, like what's going on with that? You did a TV series, where's the games? There's so many series like attached to PlayStation that they just haven't done anything with. Same with Microsoft, not quite as many. I don't think they've made as many attempts to do that as like PlayStation or Nintendo. Because really all right off the top of my head, there's obviously others, is literally Halo and Gears of War. Those are the only things that come to my mind right away. Like, what else is a big Microsoft franchise?
Ooh, I don't know. Madden?
I can't even... that's EA, right?
Yeah, I know. It's being stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even think of anything. So that's the point. If it doesn't come straight to my head, that's the problem, right? Because they're not these...
I guess at this point, maybe the Forza games, I guess.
Oh, yeah, Forza's the other big one. So that, yeah, for sure. That's a massive one. And I play those. They're good. But that's that's it. Those are the 3. That's what I think of. Flight Simulator, I guess, if you want to call that. But that, I can't think of anything else. So that's the problem. Nothing else comes straight to my mind. Nintendo, 15 things come to my mind. PlayStation, 10 things come to my mind. That's
right. They own Microsoft, or not Microsoft. They own Minecraft. So
Microsoft owns Microsoft. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minecraft, I guess. Yeah, that's one that I sometimes forget they own because it's on everything.
They just do their own thing,
which is good.
Mojang is just their own thing.
Ori is another one, which again they put that on Nintendo as well. Those are very good games. There's only 2 of them. I'm sure they're doing something else with that because those are very, very good games. Some of the best platforms I've ever played, but I don't know. What is the most emotional TV series you've ever seen?
Ooh, that's actually kind of hard.
Oh, Mr. Coffee brought up Fable, Mecha Saw, and Otagi. Crimson Sky. So he's bringing up some others. Yeah, for sure. Definitely Fable.
They
I
didn't
don't know
they didn't
why I
touch
forgot
Fable
about.
in like a decade though.
There's a new one coming, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
and
look
everyone's
good.
memeing on it.
Doesn't look good. Reach ends right where Halo 1 starts. Killzone for Sony. Yeah. What's going on with that? Where's the new Killzone
Oh, the
at?
studio that makes Killzone, they've been making the Horizon games.
Oh.
That's their focus now.
Oh, okay.
'Cause after Killzone 4, they made Horizon Zero Dawn.
I love Killzone. I have a prediction because I definitely brought this up before that I think it might have been in a video though instead. I think they're going to try to do or have been working on probably a Killzone online game. Like I can see it. If there's any because these obviously they keep coming out. These studios are doing that. They're making the Overwatch clones and the Fortnite. I feel like they're going to try to do a live service Killzone. If they bring it back, it's going to be a live service game instead of like a new game they sell physically. Is just a single player game that might have a multiplayer mode. I feel like they're going to do a live service game. Jade Empire. Yeah. What have they done with that anytime recently? Nothing I can think of.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I say a new Resistance game will come out before Killzone. That's possible. I'd love to see a new Resistance. It's good stuff, but again, like, where's the Resistance games? Will Metroid ever receive another multiplayer game?
I don't think it will. I just don't think it's popular enough to because if it's gonna be on the Switch, you're not gonna make something as low quality as Hunters. I think if you get a multiplayer, it'll be attached to a mainline game,
It's not
like a
low
Metroid Prime
quality.
4.
What do you mean low quality?
Compared to like what you would get on a handheld device or where you get on like a mainline console, they'd have to put a lot more money into it than they would. Say if the Wii had the DS equivalent, making a game for the DS would be a lot cheaper than making it for the Switch and not look super cheap.
Metroid Prime Hunters doesn't look cheap.
You're missing the point.
Oh, okay, we're talking. We're not talking DS though. Like, would they do? Because Hunters
Short
isn't the
answer,
only
no.
multiplayer game.
Yeah, the other one's on the DS and it sold like crap.
What?
Which is Federation Force.
I wouldn't even talk about.
Because it's a bad game. Those are the only two multiplayer games, specific games they made.
No, it's not.
What other one?
You know what I'm talking about.
You need to
Gotta
tell
think.
me.
Gotta think about it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Every other game's a single player game.
Wii U. Nintendo Land.
That's not a Metroid game. So stupid.
What do you mean? It's a Metroid.
I know what you're talking about. That's just a Metroid, Metroid costumed game.
It's a very
Stupid.
good game. Very good game.
I'd say no, just because unless Metroid Prime 4 sells like 10 million copies.
Yeah, I think probably no as well. Which is kind of unfortunate because I think it really worked as a multiplayer game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
but
and we
on something on a lighter hardware like the DS, where you could not have to put as much money into it.
I
On
gotta
the Switch, they'd have to put a lot more money into it.
I'm gonna have to send it to you because I gotta find what it is again. But this Metroid channel, probably because I put out that video, popped up yesterday. Sorry, yesterday. It's all Metroid. It's like it's real cool, going super in depth with it and everything. I think you would enjoy it, but yeah.
I just don't think it's a multiplayer franchise. It's always been a single player focused game. I mean, Metroid Prime 4 might have a multiplayer aspect to the game as like a side thing, but won't be the primary focus of the game. I just don't think the type of game does well on multiplayer. Because even Hunters didn't do Gamebuster on sales.
Yeah. I mean, no Metroid is on Gangbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably no. As much as I would like to see something, just something, you know what I mean? Like I think because it would definitely work. They did it on the DS, like that exact concept. What's crazy is that's like it's like a kind of Overwatch thing. Like it's kind of like Overwatch, kind of not, but it's like the arena shooter thing. Like
I guess
it's
kind of, but the DS is a completely different platform as far as like financial wise and compared to what they had on the GameCube. I'm like they could put a lot less money into it and expect it to sell way under 1 million sales and still make their money back. The problem is they don't have the equivalent of the DS. It's just the Switch. So they'd have to put a lot more money into it to make it not look like trash, which means they need it to sell a lot more. And I just don't think the sales are there right now. I don't think the franchise is popular enough.
It's not.
When their best game is only sold 3 million copies.
No, it didn't even sell 3 million. It broke 1 million, right?
No, they're the best Metroid game.
Dread
barely broke 3 million.
Oh, I thought it just broke 1 million. I thought it was
no.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure Dread it was just over 3 million in sales.
Okay, well, still that's not good, per se.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think no, but it would be cool to see. I mean, that exact concept could work for like a simple multiplayer mode for people to play and keep engaging with the game. And I mean,
I think we'll have it as a side to a mainline game.
I will say this: one thing that is understated though is how we got 6 brand new characters in Hunters. That's pretty crazy. And one of
what they wanted to do with the story, they kind of had to.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's just very, like, how many games do that? 6, different races in the galaxy all in one, you know what I mean? I think it's cool.
That's like all there is. There's like not a whole lot of other characters that were in the game.
Well, is there a whole lot of characters in any Metroid?
Well, yeah, the actual, the creatures you're attacking and the villains and stuff like that. There's
plenty of those. Stuff. There's all kinds of...
Yeah, that are ripped from other games.
How many times have you beat that game?
Probably just the once.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were
I thought
you were a Metroid fan.
He's so stupid.
Poser.
I haven't had that game in forever. I haven't played that game since we were still kids, so...
I want you to get it because I got it... Did I tell you I got it connected online the other day?
No, yeah, you did.
Yeah, dude, man, that would be so cool if you got that game. If anybody else out there wants to play some Metroid Prime Hunters, I'll send you how to set it up. It's not... Took me a little while, but like after that, it's easy.
You just have to make sure the only thing that matters is glitching back into the wall.
That's what I was trying to do, and I thought in my brain I remembered the exact spot, but I didn't. I couldn't find that, and I can like picture it, and the map's not that big, but for some reason I couldn't find that exact. I thought I remembered exactly where to walk in there. I'm like, nope, that's not even how you walk into the
you have
area.
To like jump into the map and hope you don't get killed before you get in there.
But I can't find that corner. That exact.
I know exactly where that corner's in.
I thought I did too, but I looked around. Maybe it's the wrong map. I didn't play through every map again. I only did like 2 matches at the time.
Oh, it's one specific map. I know that much.
I thought I remembered them. I can picture in my head the exact what the corner looks like, but I don't know. Maybe I just suck. All right, what do you got? Do you play any card games?
Card games? I mean, I guess I've dabbled a handful of times into like Pokemon, but that was on like the phone, on their mobile app for it.
Are you ever hitting up the casino?
Though, like once every 2 years, I just hit up slots, so not really.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm not a big. I mean, it kind of sounds bad, but I'm not a big card fan. Like I've dabbled in Pokemon a little bit, but that's on the phone because you get the free cards for every time I buy a pack. And when I physically buy the cards, I'm just collecting those. I don't really play with those or plan to play with them.
So what's the point if you're not playing the game?
Just to collect the cards. So
they're meant to be played with.
I want to collect them.
That's like buying sealed games. Let me just put this.
Not the same. I don't think it's the same at all.
What are you doing?
A lot of people just collect the cards.
What are you doing with the cards? Do you like display them all over your wall or something?
No, but I just the spares. I don't care what I do with them. I just put them in a binder to have them and look at them. Like I don't know. Maybe one day I'll actually play with them. Who knows?
How often do you look at them?
Not that often. I just like to collect them. It's a fun thing to do. I don't tell you. It's fun to just collect stuff.
Okay.
It's the only form of gacha that I actually enjoy.
That's like collecting sealed games. Like, what are you doing?
I don't think it's the same. No, because I'm opening up the packages. I'm not just leaving it sealed up for.
At least a sealed game you can display.
I could display them if I wanted to. I got some nice cards that are in the hard plastic. I could always display. I don't know where I'm gonna put them though.
It seems a little sketch.
I bought Pokemon cards in months at this point, so.
Yeah, I don't really. I like card games because I used to play Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I like them a lot, but I haven't played any in a long time. Like it's been
Yeah.
maybe
Especially when there's nobody
20
around you that plays them.
Well, right across the street from me, well, right down the road, not right across the street, but there is there's actually two in Circle where people get together constantly, almost every day. There's different card games set up that people are going to go play. But I've just never gotten involved in the scene or anything. So I've been there, like when people are there playing cards, when I'm just looking. And there every single time I go, there's people playing. They've got it's a retro game store, but they've also got huge section of Pokemon and Magic cards. And somebody apparently pulled I don't know anything about like the value of Magic cards. They're telling me that somebody pulled a $8,000 Magic card out of there, and then he immediately sold it to them, and it's in the case.
Yeah, why
there.
not? At that point, $8,000, yeah, I'll take the cash.
50% though, so they buy it at 50%, so it's $4,000. I'd rather just go sell it, elsewhere.
Yeah, if I can get $8,000 for it, I'll sell it elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. What else?
At that point, might as well just get it graded.
Right.
Is the Metroid story convoluted at all?
What do you think?
I would say no. It's one of the most tame. The Zelda timeline is convoluted.
Well, that's kind of why I asked it, because
like it's pretty straightforward, because technically every single game is canon in the timeline, but it's kind of quasi broken up into your main 5 games and then the Prime series games.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this when it first came out, but when Metroid Prime first came out, people were saying it wasn't canon; it was its own thing. Kind of like when the first 3D Zelda game came out.
Yeah, but then Nintendo's like every Zelda, But that's one of the weird things that I've looked into, because Japan as a whole approaches the concept of canon very differently. Because I guess the idea is like anything that they've made official is technically canon to the timeline.
Interesting.
They just kind of kept it kind of clean by the Prime series kind of doing its own thing, because it was between 1 and 2, and those games, regardless of what you might say, don't really have any story really at all, to be fair, especially the original games.
Well, I would definitely agree with 1, and you could say that with 2 for sure, but I feel like that started to come in kind of with Super Metroid, but like you got Zero Mission, obviously a remake, but you got Fusion. What else am I missing 2D?
Yeah, but Fusion's 4 in the timeline. It's way out there.
Yeah, but it's for sure got a story. You know what I mean? Like
they all got a story. The only game that goes super heavy outside of Dread on the story is Other M, but that canonically I think takes place between 3 and 4.
Yeah, so that's another one. People were saying that wasn't canon,
but it is canon, and the directors come out and said multiple times, like, this is canon. You're just gonna have to suck it up and accept it. But yeah. I've said it before. I hate Other M for the reasons for different reasons. I hate it because I hate the gameplay. I enjoy the story. I didn't have a problem with the story of the game.
Yeah, I didn't like the gameplay at all. I thought the story's fine. That's how I feel. I thought the gameplay was atrocious. Yeah, for Metroid anyway. It could,
But as far as like it being convoluted, like it's pretty straightforward. Because the Prime series, well, I guess we'll see what happens with 4. But outside of 4, everything else takes place between 1 and 2. You got the main series timeline, half of which aren't that heavy on the story to begin with. Even the Prime games are fairly light at times on the overarching story.
Especially 1.
Yeah.
I think 3 probably has the most story, but
it's what a Metroid game is for the most part. It's just you by yourself on a planet trying to figure out what's going on.
Big league.
Yeah.
Fake news. All right. Who's your go-to character for Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers?
Mario Kart, Yoshi. Smash Bros. Either Link or Yoshi, probably. I'm not good at
Smash. Dang, that's exactly mine. Exactly what I was gonna say. Always Yoshi at Mario Kart, and yeah, it's either Link or Yoshi on.
I've always really loved Yoshi since Yoshi's Island.
Me too. Yeah.
And then Yoshi's, at least as far as Mario Kart, he's medium weight, so I think does a little bit of everything pretty decently. I've just always liked him. He's been in most, if not all, the games. And then Smash, I think he has been in Smash. I don't know, it's like Yoshi. If he's there, I'll pick him. I don't think he's really all that good, but I prefer to play Smash with items because to me it's party game, and I'm terrible at fighting games, so it's
No,
irrelevant.
yeah,
I could pick
I
pick
view it
the
the same way.
you could pick the worst, I could pick the best. You're probably still gonna beat me. So
Yeah, I enjoy playing it, but I'm not good at it, and I can't play it online because the Japanese players are brutal. They are brutal. They gotta have the best players in the world at because anything that when I used to
gotta play the
play
game more.
Mario Kart
Get
DS, same thing. You know the snaking issue, obviously, with that. My God, you play the Japanese players, bro, you are not winning that race.
Well, yeah, if you want to be,
But they
you gotta get
also
better by
some of
watching
them
the
spend
best
12
play.
hours a day playing games, and
Because the dude's a
Hikikomori.
Hikikomori.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything other than play video games all day.
Yeah. I mean it's the same for me. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I do like playing as a few other there's so many characters. Don't think I'm great with any characters, if I'm being real with you, especially when I'm playing other people and online. I can't even play it online unless I'm playing with friends because it's crap. I can't even play the game. I'm getting knocked off and the stage and everything right away for 30 seconds, and it's just brutal.
All you need to do is have a training arc.
Not fun,
You just spend a few weeks with your own personal montage training arc, come back, and you'll be 10 times better.
Rocky montage.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we'll go ahead and hit my retro spotlight real quick and try to wrap up the Southern news. So this week I've got iNinja. I played this back in the day for GameCube. This was one of the first games that I got. I used to play it with my brother and sister all the time. It's a really weird, very fun game. It's very hard to explain. So you're this big-headed ninja, and it's basically a 3D platformer action type game. It's it's been a while since I played it, but you're this big-headed ninja. You run around 3D platformer and get through the level, and there's a bunch of enemies and stuff, and that's kind of it. What's kind of unique about this game, though, towards the beginning, you jump in this giant mech, and you have to get in this boss fight pretty soon into the game, and it's literally like a kaiju mech battle. I remember that for sure. That's the biggest standout of the game. But it came out in November 18th, 2003. It also came out on PS2, Xbox, and PC. Namco Home Tech published it, and Argonaut Games developed it. Game starts with a ninja in training, simply named Ninja, who comes to rescue his sensei, simply named Sensei, from the ranks sent by Ninja's nemesis, Emperor Odor. Ninja saves Sensei by defeating the ranks, and a creature comes to attack Ninja, which he deals with easily. That was what I was just talking about. The creature then spits out a Rage Stone, which Ninja touches and goes into a fit of rage. So that's the other mechanic of the game. He gets very angry, and you get kind of powerful, super fast, and you have to kind of control the rage while using the rage to get through the level.
Yeah.
Very, very weird, wacky mechanic. I loved how these games experimented with doing just weird things, but it's super fun. I definitely recommend it. I don't think it's a super expensive game, but I didn't know this when looking up some stuff here to put in here. It actually got a GBA port that wasn't released, and it's been dumped online. So I'm going to put that on my EverDrive and check that out. That'd be really interesting to see what they'd make this game on the GBA. I imagine it's probably not a 3D game. I mean, there are 3D games on the GBA, not many. I imagine it's probably a 2D side scroller. But it'd be it looks like there's 3D elements. I'm looking at screenshots. There are 3D elements to the game. Looks like potentially the full game's 3D. I don't. Oh yeah, it is a 3D game. So that's interesting. Yeah, GBA games 3D. Very cool. So I love seeing these handhelds and different consoles kind of push the system to the max. So seeing this full 3D game on the GBA, I'd be curious to know why they canceled it. But definitely check it out if you got an EverDrive. I want to dump that on there in the next couple of days and check it out. But,
oh yeah, definitely.
Cool stuff. All right, what else we got? Just a few things.
Yeah, so I guess trying to pull up the next one. Super 7 unveils a kaiju size amount of Godzilla merch for the main Comic Con over in San Diego.
Are you going?
Have money for that?
Oh, I thought you were going. Yeah,
It'd
no,
be nice to go, but
I would love to go sometime too, but it is expensive. So the Super 7 Godzilla figure, it's kind of cool because it's kind of a throwback to the crappy Godzilla toys back in the day. It's like
yeah,
unpainted and just purposely looks like crap, and I love that stuff. Uh, there's uh, so I wish I knew somebody going, because one of the reasons I put this in here, Jet Jaguar and Godzilla figure combo. Oh my
yeah.
god, I want this. I love the Japanese cheap toy packaging that they would package these Godzilla toys in back in the day. It was always like this really cheap, crappy, packaging, cheap, crappy figures. I still got a
Oh yeah.
couple. I still got a couple of them from the collection because I hung on to a few things, but yeah, there were always these crappy vinyl figures, and I love it. And Jet Jaguar in any interpretation I need in my life. So I think it's pretty rad, some of the stuff they got. They got a Hedorah figure, a reaction figure, vintage toy Hawaii. I guess it's the painting there, vintage toy Hawaii. That's like the name of the color scheme they got on it. But again, like a throwback to one of the cheap, crappy figures that looks really cool. They got a Shogun Godzilla, which, do you know about these toys?
I don't know. I've
So,
never been to toys since I was a kid.
dang.
Just being honest.
So, obviously, you know what Shogun is, right?
No, yeah, I know what
Like,
that is.
as far as like the mechs and stuff, Shogun mechs.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is basically that. So, like, the Shogun toys were really like those. So, God, I forget the name of the robots, but he's kind of prominent, and the toys are very expensive. But he was, God, I can't remember the name of this Japanese robot's the most popular Japanese robot, but it was not a thing that we got here. Very popular in Japan. He had tons and tons of toys. I just cannot remember his name, and like, I can't believe I can't think of his name, because like that was one of my grails I was always after. The big toy for this mech, it was for thousands of dollars. Very rare, very hard to find. If you're getting like the big one that everybody's after. But anyway, this is like in that design, so it's like he's supposed to kind of be like looking like a mech and stuff. His hand shoots off. It looks like there's a spike going through his mouth, his entire head, or something. I can't tell what's going on there, but yeah, very, very, very cool stuff. I would absolutely love to have these. We got Baragon is getting a toy. We also got Anguirus is getting a toy. So yeah, these are cool. The packaging alone is, I love it, dude.
It's very old school.
Do you know anybody going here?
I don't know anybody going, to be fair.
Now, would you get these if you found them, or like these something that interests you? Any of this?
Personally,
Yeah.
probably not, if I'm being honest.
Man,
But I mean, I like Godzilla. Don't really care. I've never really cared for the toys.
that Jet Jaguar 2-pack is like beautiful. I'm glad
Oh,
that
it was like a PVC model then probably, but that's a little bit more detailed. But it's also gonna be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah. Well, Mark doesn't like Godzilla. So we've also got here real quick Batman Caped Crusader. We got an announcement of who's going to be voicing. Doing voices, obviously, lost voice actor.
Well, very obviously, Bruce Wayne's voicing Batman. It's a pretty easy one.
You're stupid. The voice cast includes Amish, Linklater as Batman Bruce Wayne. So it's gonna be weird to see. I just, when I think of Batman, I can't remember his name. I feel really bad. He passed away not long ago. Anyway, I think of the 90s Batman animated series. I think of that voice as Batman. So it'll be interesting to see. It looks really good. It's a retro noir infused reimagining. Batman is a vigilante in the early days of his
Oh,
crime fighting career.
is it Kevin
Yeah,
Conroy?
yep, Kevin Conroy. That's when I think of Batman. Even before anybody that's played Batman in movies, that's what I think of. Just always have. I love Batman the animated series. I think it's one of the best cartoons ever made. It has a great ongoing story, but is also episodic. Very good stuff. So this looks cool. I like noir type of stories. I've always liked that stuff. So interesting to see. And then lastly, we got McDonald's has made a Jujutsu Kaisen. Sorry, I always mess that up.
Yeah.
Themed special grade garlic sauce. Kind of non-news, but I thought it was weird.
Who uses garlic sauce as a dipping sauce at McDonald's? That's what I'm more curious.
I was wondering the same thing. It's a little odd. And then we got 3 community questions this week. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody because I missed people the last 2 weeks apparently. Got called out for that, so I apologize.
Rightfully so.
Well, hey, there's a lot of socials to keep up with, so it's a lot. But we got Lurgan Ahmed said, "Are you ever continuing that Sonic React series you did a few years ago?"
I remember what he was talking about.
You said you were, but maybe you just stopped.
I think that's the Sonic for Hire. We did that really brief stint of doing like reaction videos.
People like that. Some of the best viewed stuff on the channel. I did. That's totally up to you. I wouldn't mind. I thought it was fun to do. And,
No, yeah, we definitely look at going back.
That's cool stuff.
I get back into. It helped with probably some of the streaming stuff. Stream it, react to it at the same time, chop it up on the channel.
Yeah, that's
it's an idea. At the very least. No, I've talked about it before.
Yeah, that actually is a perfect idea. So yeah, maybe we
need to
can
grow
do
the
that.
Twitch somehow.
Yeah, we'll talk about doing that. Yeah, I've wanted to stream. I'm going to. I've got plans. What's coming over the next week, months, some stuff I'm working on. So there is some stuff brewing, but yeah, I mean we could probably do that soon. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean it's content that people liked. Definitely got views for sure.
Yeah, people
still getting views.
There was a comment on it yesterday or the day before, so. Also, apparently got called out. I don't remember. I must have missed them or just forgot. But there's a bunch of comments on the Trails of Reverie trailer reaction because people were saying, I don't know if they were talking about me or you, but somebody said, "Why are you doing this?" One of us didn't know what we were talking about or knew anything about the series, and I'm like, "What?" And then there was a bunch of comments saying we were messing up stuff about the games, and I'm like, "Jiminy Christmas,
who cares?"
Yeah, you look on there, I'm like, dang, people are brutal, man.
Oh. Thanks for boosting the algorithm. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I might have just forgot that they were there, but I don't know. Lest It Knows 1332 asked, I was wondering if you guys have any modded game systems. I've been wanting to get some things done to my GameCube, PS1, Game Boy, etc. Is it worth the cost of paying someone or the time spent learning? Good question.
Definitely you. I've never modded a game console, so I have no idea about this.
So it definitely depends on the console and what you're wanting to do. The GameCube for sure, super cheap to do. Full that Peekaboo mod is like $15. So yeah, I would definitely say for sure there are some crazy expensive games on the GameCube. PS1, X Station mod is like, I think it's about $150. But yeah, again, you can get the full library as a massive Some of the games on the PS1 are the most expensive games, period. Those RPGs, the JRPGs on PS1. Yeah, no thanks. I'm not paying the price of those. So yeah, I mean, I think for sure Game Boy, like you would be, like screen mod, you can like get customized buttons, case. That's about it. Just get you an EverDrive, and I think the GBA ones are 100. I think the Game Boy and GBA ones are both 100. That's a very good deal. Some of the consoles get a little bit more expensive, but they're all worth it because they pay for themselves. Like buying that is the cost. 1/6 of the cost of some of the games. So yeah, I would say it definitely is. As far as cost of paying someone, obviously it's going to cost you more. You pay someone. It's a good thing to learn, but you got to learn each console and kind of what to do so you don't screw up. So I mean, yeah, it is. I definitely recommend it. But like Game Boy and the handhelds, the EverDrives are the way to go as far as the game department. So Tyler Pritchard asked, "What generation of Pokemon are your favorite, and what's the reason?"
I'm
Second,
kind of
second
torn.
gen.
I'm torn between the second and the third gen.
I mean, first, second are my favorite, but there's something about Gold and Silver, and even though like most of those designs were designs already made, something feels different about them. Like they just feel, I don't know. I love second gen. I'm very very attached to second generation, and it's like a combination of the anime at the time when that came out and just like following the games and then the release of it. Like I have memories attached to that second generation and all of it, but I just remember at time the excitement for the second generation to come out was like just I was, so excited. Keeping up with like the Pokemon that were coming out, like some of the details that were, sort of leaked, and then obviously Japan getting the games way before us. So I got to see all of them. I learned their Japanese names. I don't remember any of them now, but it's the same with third gen. Was following all the Japanese names, knew them by their Japanese names. I don't remember any of those Japanese names now. But yeah, second gen for me.
I might slightly be leaning towards Gen 3, if only because I really love the legendaries and the pseudo legendaries in Gen 3. That's probably the most. Obviously, top to bottom, I think Rayquaza is probably my favorite Pokemon. I don't know why.
That's a cop out.
It's not cop out. It's my favorite legendary.
A lot of people say
that. I mean, obviously, I remember watching the movie.
Deoxys
and Rayquaza, however you want to say his name. I don't know if you remember if Jirachi was in that. I think Jirachi was in a different movie.
No, that's the Wishmaker. Wishmaker movie.
I also, when it comes to legendaries, they're not good combat, but the Latios, I really like them.
Oh yeah, I love that Pokemon for Pokemon Heroes, the movie.
Yeah. Then what's it? Metagross.
Metagross.
One of my favorite one of my favorite pseudo legendaries. And I really like the game because I had it was Emerald growing up, and I really like the Gen 3 games as a whole.
Do you remember the first Pokemon, the first Arcanine card, and then it called Arcanine a legendary? It said legendary Pokemon on that card.
I don't think I ever had the card, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I had two of those holographic cards, and I thought it was crazy because it was never, for some reason, it like blew my mind because it was never referenced as a legendary in anything else.
No,
anime, the games, nothing. But for some reason, the card said legendary.
It's probably just a misprint or a mistype. Oh, it was supposed to be there. So I don't even think he's considered pseudo legendary.
No, he's
especially
not.
How early you get him in the game.
As far as I'm aware,
it's a one evolve, or it's only a 2-stage Pokemon, so it's just not strong enough.
Yeah, I don't know why it said that, but it's kind of funny. Some of the cards said like weird things that didn't like match up with anything else. I always thought that was kind of funny. But all right, well, I appreciate everybody watching today. Mark, you got any closing thoughts about the episode?
I think get all the big stuff. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Don't forget to tip your waitress. Don't drown your goldfish.
Dang, that's rude.
Same stuff every week, it feels like.
You do say that every single week. I keep waiting for you to say something different. I'm like, oh, here we go again. Yeah, be sure to follow socials. There's a lot of stuff going on I'm trying to brew up, and I'm talking with somebody else to work on a project that's kind of been something that's been talked about for a while. So should have some word on that. And we are obviously going to be having the anime podcast come out pretty soon. So again, keep an eye out socials for that, for updates on that. And got posts and stuff every single day. Join the Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, it's fun. A lot of people talking in there. Mark's in there. Yep. So great episode. Next week is episode 92. We're only 9 episodes away from 100, man.
That's crazy.
Crazy. All right, everybody. Appreciate you watching and listening, and have a great night. See you later, Mr. Coffee.